And now a look back at This Week in History on iHeartRadio.
This week in 1867, the U.S. formally takes possession of Alaska after purchasing the territory from Russia for $7.2 million, or less than 2 cents an acre. Public opinion of the purchase turned more favorable when gold was discovered in Nome, Alaska in 1899, sparking a gold rush. Alaska became the 49th state on January 3rd, 1959. This week in 1931, gangster Al Capone is convicted of tax evasion and later sentenced to 11 years in prison and fined $80,000, signaling the downfall of one of the most notorious criminals of the 1920s and 30s. Capone began serving his time at the U.S. Penitentiary in Atlanta, but amid accusations that he was manipulating the system and receiving cushy treatment, he was transferred to the maximum security lockup at Alcatraz Island. This week in 1973, the Arab-dominated Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, announces a decision to cut oil exports to the U.S. and other nations that provided military aid to Israel in the Yom Kippur War of October 1973, which would eventually cause a major energy crisis in the U.S. and Europe. The embargo was lifted in March of 1974. And this week in 1985, the first Blockbuster video rental store opens in Dallas, Texas. At a time when most video stores were small-scale operations featuring a limited selection of titles, Blockbuster opened with some 8,000 tapes displayed on shelves around the store and a computerized checkout process.
And that's what happened. Thanks for listening to This Week in History on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio! Here are the top Fleetwood Mac songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Don't Stop.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. You'll soon be it'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone.
Number 2, Dreams.
Oh, thunder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing.
Number 1, Go Your Own Way.
You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can call it another day.
Hear more from Fleetwood Mac and similar artists now. Search for Fleetwood Mac on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Bryan Adams to discuss the difficulties of putting a record together, particularly the Reckless album.
If you knew what Reckless took to make, you wouldn't think that, it just sounds like we went in an afternoon and recorded a record, because I told over that record for 6 months, I mean, it was one of the hardest things I ever did. I was completely wiped out afterwards, because I fought every step of the way with everybody about it. And even though I had a good team, there was a lot of struggles. Mm-hmm. But I come to terms with the fact that if you want something bad enough, you got to fight for it, and so that's what I do now. I just I put together a good entourage, go in there and just get in the scrum, man.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bryan Adams and all your favorite artists.
7.
Broadcasting from the all-new Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel.
Turn it up!
This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game.
We'll talk about it in our...
A new day has dawned on the Game.
Just a new year. I'm just ready for a fresh restart. It's just a beautiful day out here.
A show with straightforward conversation with no agendas. This is No BS with Bill Schmid.
Why is this thing stiff?
And Armin Saryan.
Boom, boom, shakalaka, clockwork football, touchdown. I love seeing that.
Join the show now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. 1-877-794-1973.
Wait a minute, these guys are cool, but not that cool.
No BS is presented by Screamin' Sicilian Premium Craft Frozen Pizza. Find it in your local grocer's freezer and taste what all the screaming is about. Now, Billy and Armin on the Game.
Well, as the great poet Shabuzi once said, oh my good Lord, someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. Brewers need a double shot of wins once they get to Lipstick City, as they drop both home games of the National League Championship Series. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's over on the other side, 877-794-1973. 5-1 the final last night at American Family Field, and 5 hits and 2 runs over 2 games. Not going to be good enough to win just about any playoff game, let alone, Armin Sarian, a game against one of the greatest collections of players and teams maybe ever created in Major League Baseball. Might just be in the midst of watching one of the better dynastic runs in baseball history. And the LA Dodgers do it last night in American Family Field. Solo shot from Max Muncy. Shohei Ohtani welcomes himself into the series. His first hit is an RBI base hit with the infield drawn in, man at third and 1 out. It became 4-1, then was 5-1. But Yamamoto throws a 3-hit, 1-run, dominating 111 pitch performance, where the first pitch was the only pitch that went way of the home team when Jackson Chourio gave the Brewers at one point a 1-0 lead last night.
Boy, that was a nice moment though, wasn't it? That felt good.
We had that moment.
Had that moment. We're always going to have that 5 minutes and everything like that when we had the lead. So that was fantastic. And you said lineups ever or collections of talent ever created. I'd like to say collected because, I mean, this is the Monstars. There's no doubt about it. Now, the thing is, you know, one thing that always made me nervous about Space Jam, Billy, was if they ever had a sequel. Now, I'm not talking about the remake with LeBron. No offense to your boy.
Bad.
But I said to myself, I was a kid, you know, watching Space Jam, and I said, boy, I'm glad we beat the Monstars because I don't think we beat them again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was one thing. It's
I don't
like,
know,
man,
Michael's able to stretch that arm out and dunk that one last time.
And you watch this team in blue, and you ask yourself, I'm talking about Dodger blue, you ask yourself, how did they even lose this year? Like, they won 93 games. They kind of coasted the second half of the year. But you kind of know why that they're so good when you see them and their collection of talent on display here in the playoffs. And that's what it feels like you're up against right now, Billy. There's no doubt about it. One of the greatest collections of talent that money can buy. They bought it, and they are getting the returns right now on their investment. There's no question about it. When you can roll up with a rotation that we're seeing, and they're all pitching their best, like Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow. Oh, by the way, Shohei, if you want.
Yeah, if they want him potentially in game 3 or 4.
If you please. It is tough, no doubt about it. Now, listen, some of our favorite teams that have done amazing things in the history of the state have been down 0-2 multiple times. They've been down 0-2 multiple times. This might be a different situation.
I like that one.
Granted,
okay.
Yes, we're going on the road, to face, this juggernaut right now that it seems, right? To face this lineup, to face these pitchers, but we didn't feel good down 2-0 to the Angels in 82, and we sure didn't feel good down 2-0 to the Brooklyn Nets or to the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals. Now, I'm not sure the situations are the same, Billy. I'm not sure we're going to have a
little different potentially,
Greek god here to save us, but he does own part of the team. So you have to hope that there's some way, somehow, that this Brewers team can last night on their long flight out of LAX find some sort of, spark, something inside them, some sort of newfound mental, fresh look at things, some sort of new attitude.
Some offense.
So maybe we can get some offense
that would help.
Let's hit a couple balls. Let's get something going here, and let's try to turn this thing around.
And the difficult nature of it is, Armin, all of what you just said is 100% accurate. The Dodgers are one of the great collections of teams. They're playing their best ball that they have in 2025 right now.
Yeah.
Almost like they were able to ramp up perfectly up to the playoffs. You also, though, are seeing a team that is built to dominate and finally able to. And when you win 6 games out of 6 against them in the regular season, baseball is the game that we always say is regression towards the mean. Maybe this is the regression. It just happens to be at the harshest, worst time. But I mean, it is difficult to forecast a much different result. And I hate to put it on just a couple of guys, because rarely in sports does it really come down to just a couple of dudes.
Especially in baseball. But
especially in baseball.
But it's going to at some point.
But
so
if you are going to be able to do anything in the series, going to need to see the emergence and the, welcome sight of a legitimate at bat from Christian Yelich.
That's one.
Bryce
That's one.
Durang once again.
That's another one. We did get a hit last night, but it was,
We got a hit last
got a
night late.
single.
William Contreras gets the solo shot in game 1 or in game 5 against the Cubs. He is still hitless in this series.
Although he had some hard contact, but yes, correct.
So like you look at your best players, and again, you're right. Some hard contact,
That doesn't matter.
some better at bats from Contreras, no doubt about it. But you can make it pretty simple. If you're going to find the recipe, those guys are going to have to produce.
They have to.
And the solo shot from Jackson Chourio is a massive moment. It's amazing. He becomes the second youngest player to lead off a Major League Baseball postseason game with a home run, second only to himself last year in the wild card round.
Amazing.
Only player under the age of 22 ever to do it. But that's the only one you get. Because Yamamoto, you chase him for his shortest start in his Major League Baseball career in July. And then his greatest Major League Baseball start potentially comes in October in game 2 on the mound where he got run before getting 3 outs.
Yeah.
I mean, you do look on the other side and say there's pretty amazing performances being put forth. But you can only control the controllables, so to speak. And the most controllable thing is finding a way for your best players, your most influential players, to put up anything offensively, because the offense is completely vanished at this moment.
Non-existent. And it's tough because you sat there saying, boy, this has started as good as it could possibly start. We had a solo leadoff home run in the first pitch. You start to feel like maybe the momentum can turn around, and then the faucet turns completely off. Like that plumber went in and shut that leak off. That plumber went in there and closed off that pipe. Like, I'm sorry you didn't pay your water bill. You'll not have any water anymore. That's what it felt like. And that's the frustrating part. Jackson Chourio stepping up on one leg, Billy. I mean, my guy's out there playing hurt, stepping up, had the big home run, but that's it. You need your best players to step up. I mean, you can't survive any other way. I mean, it's obviously tough to hit against these guys. We saw what we saw last night. Yamamoto was filthy last night. I mean, absolutely. Snell was insane. Yamamoto was insane. Just absolutely disgusting.
Arguably better.
Probably, yeah. But the reality is you won't go anywhere unless your best players come up big. And you got to have more from Yelich. You got to have more from Turang. You're getting it from Chourio. These are your best players all year. Your best players all year, and you can't survive otherwise. And we haven't talked about Freddie yet for good reason, in my opinion. I mean, Freddie wasn't perfect last night, but he wasn't the worst he's ever been. He did keep his team mostly in the game. Unfortunately, when your offense is struggling that much, you have no room for error. No room for error.
Yeah.
And that was a tough thing. So we'll get to him as well. Obviously, that's a topic as well.
Well, and you're right. He would have had to match him pitch for pitch last night. And I don't think that's unfair to ask in a playoff game again with one of your best players, your ace, your horse, your number one guy. I don't think it's unfair to say that. But Armin, it was going to be difficult last night. And to your point, when there's zero margin for error, it can have a really daunting feeling. And for a team that is undaunted, said it last year a number of times, had the t-shirts, the billboards, maybe we get a little bit of that mixed into this magic brew. And as John and Rhinelander on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line at 877-794-1973 said, it's going to be awesome coming back home 3-2 for game 6.
I'll tell you that much. If they are able to make it back for Milwaukee, I think the momentum would be great. I think people would be feeling great. Like, wow.
I think it would be as well. Yeah, so I think you're safe to say that.
I like to think that. I like the manifestation of the positivity there. I like to think that if the Brewers do come back home, that means we've got some really good momentum, and that might be a good sign. And it's a daunting task now, Billy, to have to win 2 out of 3, at least obviously in LA to try and come back home. I would say at this point that you have to make small goals, and small goal number 1 would probably be to put a rally together and score some runs. Small goal number 2 is to
score more than one run in a 9-inning game.
That would help. Win one game, and then your next goal would be to try and just get this thing back to Milwaukee. Come hell or high water, find a way to try and get another home game, if nothing else, for the fans to enjoy this team. But obviously to try and come back in the series. This is still baseball, okay? This is still baseball, and anything can happen any given day. So obviously, as bad and bleak as it looks, I don't want to say it's impossible, Billy, because I don't believe that. I think the Brewers' backs are
And
against the
possible
wall.
is nothing.
I think that
Or anything is possible.
Anything
One
is
of those
possible. There
two.
you go. Both are true. Both are true. Those were both sayings.
They were both what they wanted
Yes,
to have.
They were both saying. So at some point, the Brewers have to have something good go for them. That's in this series. That's kind of the way I look at this thing. And hopefully it's in game 3. Because obviously it goes without saying you can't go down 3-0.
Yeah, you go down 3-0, and even the most optimistic of fans are going to be, potentially fooling themselves.
Of which we're running
with
out
a lot
those.
of odds. Yeah, it's tougher. No doubt about it. 877-794-1973. Like Jeffrey in Milwaukee said, my faith has been shaken while I was at the game. I have to admit it. Hopefully we'll take Ohtani in game 3. He pitches in game 4 when he leaves meatballs over the plate. Help me out, fellas. Hey, Tyler Glass now in game 3. Brewers are somewhat familiar with him from his time throughout his career. Wasn't only an LA Dodger back in the day. So maybe his time with the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 2018, Brewers remember something and can tag him a little bit. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of great reason to be all that optimistic. How outside of Armin, and you can tell me if you think this is fair or not, hard to be much worse offensively.
Yeah.
I mean, they got 2 runs and 5 hits in the last 18 innings of action, and all of that action's at home. 877-794-1973. Mitch is in Appleton. It's been a tough 2 games to start, but last night we did make some solid contact. It just went right at guys. That's baseball. This team's playing their ass off, especially in pitching. Don't count this team out. Mitch, I like that.
I like the optimism. I like the optimism.
I need to find some of that.
There were some. He brings up a good point. There were some hard hit balls, especially later in the game, that seemed to only find Dodger defenders positioned perfectly. A couple times we had a couple up the middle. They had guys right there. I don't want to say we made a lot of hard contact, though, because I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true, Billy. Now, we did have some moments where there was some hard contact, but, you got to start driving some stuff to the outfield, too, a little bit and try and find some gaps, try and find some holes. And it's been ground ball machines so far for the Brewers, unfortunately. And Christian Yelich has been the biggest culprit of that. So
big time.
He's been just having a terrible series. So you have to not going to count this team out yet. We're not counting him out by any means. We've got tomorrow and we're hanging on to that. But the pitching is trying to keep this team in the game. And I do appreciate that. And it is true. They're doing the best they can against a very, very tough lineup. Billy, I mean, even though he got the RBI single last night and the drawn in infield, Ohtani really hasn't killed the Brewers. It hasn't been him on offense that's killed the Brewers. They've somewhat kept him in check. They've somewhat kept Mookie in check, but this is a tough lineup up and down. And when Muncie's hitting and Tommy Edman and Page or Page or whatever his name, I don't know what's going on. When you got there, Joey Ortiz is hitting, and they're not Joey Ortiz, but when those guys are hitting, you're really in a bad way, obviously. You have to have things go your way.
Yeah, and Andy Pages, as you mentioned, is their Joey Ortiz is their 9-hole hitter. With a robust 272 average and 27 bombs and a 775 OPS on the year.
It's a lot different.
Right? It works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Again, that can sound like sour grapes. I know Doug Russell got a lot of Cub fans in his mentions last night because he had posted a picture of Freddie Freeman and I believe Blake Snell and said, or this might have been 2 nights ago, of the amount of money committed to those guys. You look at Yamamoto last night and Ohtani. It could have been nearly $1 billion that was committed between those 2 guys. That's Dodger baseball, right? And when you say that's baseball, it's the system that you live in at this moment. And it does not mean you can't win 4 of the next 4 out of 7 games.
Right, doesn't mean that.
Because the LA Dodgers have only won 2 world titles since 1988.
Yeah, that's
correct. Now, they're the reigning defending World Series champions and trying to put together one of the more dominant postseasons that we've witnessed. But there's still plenty of opportunity. And it starts by scoring in the first inning and then being able to score more than 1 run.
And hold the lead and then score more.
I mean, like, it's a very, very simple concept. Like Jeremy and Waukesha said, yeah, I think Freddie could have been a little sharper, but by no means is the loss on him. Absolutely not. At some point, you need to be able to count on something behind you. But I don't think it's unfair to ask maybe a tick more from Freddie Peralta in the
dominance
efficiency variety, right? In the non-competitive 4-pitch walks, there were still a couple, 1 or 2 of those last night. One that ultimately comes back to bite you in that second inning that they played 2. But it's a difficult beast to slay. It was going to be tough to start. it's going to be maybe a little bit tougher when you have a lot of takes like this from our friend Steve. Hey guys, I'm trying to be optimistic, but for the remainder of the series, I think we've met our matchup up and down the lineup. These guys, we don't have the strongest spot at we don't have the strongest position player at any spot in the lineup. And with Yelich basically an automatic out, hitting cleanup, and our pitching being decent, we should be able to win a game the way we pitch, but with no offense. And listening to Murphy with some of the other guys earlier this morning, they don't sound super optimistic either. So hopefully we can at least win one game out there in LA and not get swept. We'll win two games and come back here, and anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, see, it's a good breakdown. I mean, have they met their match? I think everybody in baseball has met their match with this group of guys. I don't think there's any question about it. I think the owners have met their match. I think the economics of baseball and the CBA and all this and the labor negotiations have met their match. And the Brewers are no exception to that. Yeah, that's the best collection of team in baseball. And if they're playing their best all the time, it's the best team in baseball. Our one of our, our favorite things is from our friend Mike Heller that says in these situations, the favorite has to be complicit. And I think that's true of the Dodgers here. I mean, I don't think it's impossible the Brewers can come back and win this thing, but the Dodgers have to be complicit. They have to not play their best, I feel, to make that happen. And it's a tough thing to swallow, but it's real. The Dodgers' last 3 games from starting pitchers with their 2025 payroll numbers. Glasnow against the Phillies, $32 million. Snell crushed, 28.2, and last night Yamamoto, $20.3 million. They're getting what they paid for, Billy. I believe Yelich would be the 7th highest paid player on their team. He's our highest paid player by far. There's no doubt about that. And you've heard the numbers. I think at one point they had more money on their injured list than our entire roster. You know? So
that was at the time of the six game sweep.
These are just facts. They're not excuses. They're just facts. They're a reality when you're looking at what you have to overcome in this situation. So the question was, can we win one in Detroit and LA? Well, I think we can. I hope we can. And I hope it's game 3, Billy.
Yeah, because game 3 will at least bring a little bit of hope and optimism. At least allow you to feel somewhat positive rolling in. Jeremy and Oshkosh, the one that came in with the Freddie Peralta conversation. That was my bad.
You're good. What happened?
I did not say Oshkosh.
Sorry, Jeremy.
I actually don't know where it was. Jeremy and I chopped it up at Brewapalooza.
Let's go.
Had a good conversation at Brewapalooza. Good storyteller. Really good storyteller. Had some good ones to be able to share. Well, and we appreciate them. And 877-794-1973. You got a positive story to share from last night at American Family Field. We'd love to hear it. I saw a lot of memories being made, albeit the game on the field might not be a great memory. A lot of people in the stands last night trying to cheer on the Brew Crew. Sounded loud early. Not a whole lot to cheer about, though, as Yoshinobu Yamamoto was maybe the best he has ever been as an LA Dodger. They paid over $330 million for him to pitch in the major leagues before ever throwing an MLB pitch. He was a multiple-time MVP and their version of a Cy Young Award winner in his former professional league career. So it might have been money well spent last night.
You can see why.
You saw exactly why, because he was dominant last night. A complete game, 1-run, 3-hit masterclass, 7 Ks and just 1 walk against the Brewers, and they fall 5-1 to the hated but also somewhat feared LA Dodgers. And the Dodgers are now up 2-0 in this best of 7 National League Championship Series. We'll talk more about it with our friend Tim Allen. He talked about it all night last night at 877-794-1973 with you. Scott Dolphin is in here on the other side. Hunter Baumgart was in the building. He's here in the 9 o'clock hour as well. And plenty of time for you to join us. 877-794-1973. 1070 The Game in Madison. Good morning. 101.3 in Rhinelander and 95.3 in Appleton. We appreciate you hanging out with us. I'm Billy Schmidt. That's Armin Sarian. This is The Game.
I got that good flow, girl, you didn't know.
shining bright. Edge of the water, we were feeling all right. Back down a country road, the girls are always hot and the beer is ice cold.
Need some ice cold beer and a lot of it to make last night's game not feel too painful. Brewers fall 5-1 to the LA Dodgers, but maybe too many of those, Scott Dolphin, and then it becomes really painful this morning because then you got to remember, and then you guys still get up and go to work in the morning.
Yeah, what do you think, guys? You spend maybe $250 a piece for Lowe's level seats.
Ooh,
You get a couple ice cold ones for $12 or $13 a pop, maybe a burger. Parking was what, $40?
This
50?
was all the math that I was doing last night while I was sitting on my phone looking at the tickets on TickPick and SeatGeek and pricing it out and trying to figure it out and seeing if I could go, seeing if I shouldn't go. While my wife was doing bath time, I was just kind of standing around, doing some coaching.
That was nice of you. Cheer.
However you can help.
Yeah.
All you do is a lot of attaboys.
Looking
doing
good.
doing good. Can I get you anything? I was doing all that mathematics in my head. Tickets ended up plummeting late. I mean, it was decent pricing, but still a couple $100 for wherever you're sitting at least. And then you wake up this morning after losing at Potawatomi because you were betting the Brewers to score first and win first at the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Yeah.
At least you had odds on that, though.
Would have had some nice ones. Yeah, would have had some nice ones. So these are the last 2 days. But sadly, those don't come home. That is one of the most dominating back-to-back days from two starting pitchers, as you'll find. The adage of baseball, Dolph, of momentum's only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. Damn, the next day's starting pitcher might be even as good as the last.
Yeah, what was the stat you had about Yamamoto? He was the first
Japanese-born pitcher to throw a complete game in the Major League postseason.
It's hard for me to believe that Nomo never did it or some of these guys. I mean,
Right.
I guess I'm surprised, but I guess you think it makes sense. Complete games are just so rare now anyway.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a
just
thing
so
of the
rare.
past. That's probably the only one you'll see during the postseason, right?
Probably.
Probably. The
for sure.
broadcast crew, BA and those guys the other night were talking about the greatest pitching efforts in post-game history or postseason history. And they were putting the Dodgers up there with like Roy Halladay start back in the day. And you saw two gems in a row. That's going to be hard to beat. And unfortunately, you look at the schedule and you see Glass now and you see Shohei coming up. It's not going to get any easier.
No, it's only going to get tougher. This is the way that they're built, right? Like is the strength of their starting pitching. Armin, you said it during the break. Like, I do still believe that the Brewers can touch up their bullpen if you can see anybody in the bullpen.
You just haven't been able to get to it. And that's the frustrating part about this whole thing. In fact, the Brewers, obviously, the closest they came to winning was in game one in the ninth inning. That was your best chance. And you do hope and believe, at least looking things on paper, hey, the soft underbelly of this team might be their bullpen. But you got to get to it.
You got to get to them because if you do, I mean, they have to score at least 4 runs, right? If you score 4 runs, you give yourself a fighting chance in LA. That lineup is freaking ridiculous. When you have Pages, what do you 28 home runs? He's your 9-hitter.
You just have
you get 28 home runs,
270, 28 homers, 775 OPS, and he's a good player. Like it's wild to see. And yes, they have incredible wealth. They spend it. They also do spend it wisely. And when they miss, they are smart enough and not prideful enough to punt on it, right? Like
Hernandez, what they talked about last night. He took a gamble on himself, 1-year deal, paid off. Now he got paid for 3 years in LA.
And interesting that Teoscar Hernandez comes up because him as well as Mookie Betts, or him and his wife apparently needed the extra room at Mookie Betts's Airbnb. The story we talked about there yesterday at the Pfister Hotel when the Dodgers came to town. Mookie Betts already checks into an Airbnb. Well, if there's an extra room, Teoscar Hernandez would like to join him. He insisted before game 2 of last night that he does not believe in ghosts. His wife sure does. So they're getting different hotel accommodations. I don't believe in ghosts. We've stayed there before. I've never heard anything. I've never seen anything, but my wife is on this trip and she said she doesn't want to stay there. So we have to find another hotel.
So it is about the ghosts or just not wanting to stay at the hotel?
Oh, it's a great hotel.
It's a great hotel. So that's what I don't get. So you don't even want to stay at the Pfister and you're not even afraid of ghosts. First of all, if we got ghosts at the Pfister, so they need to start doing their job better. These ghosts need to step up their game.
Charlie.
Any kind of ghosts at Casper out there, start working on these guys a little bit more because it's not working. All right.
I heard the main one is Charles Pfister.
Yes.
And
he's a good guy.
He's the main ghost. Yeah. And then I've heard stories. There was like a bride who, I don't know if she fell to her death or something. There's a lot of legend.
So Armin, you're saying is we need to work with the ghosts.
We need to work with the ghosts more,
not be as against the ghosts. I mean, I like where your head's at.
Now, color me surprised there are guys getting Airbnbs on the road. I didn't even know they were not taking the team bus on the road. Remember that, Billy? They were
100%.
So I guess I shouldn't be surprised anymore that they're not taking the team.
Well, and like Teoscar said, his wife's on this trip, right? I'm fine with it. But she wants to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm not messing around.
Yeah.
All right. I got to play in the morning, so I'm not going to let anybody do that.
When all these stories started breaking several years ago about the fish, my wife and I love ghost stories. So we actually stayed there for years in a row. We'd go there and get a room, and we always requested and got a room in the old part of the hotel because apparently that's where the activity happens.
The old part, not the new tower. Yeah,
I'm
that's where the
taking
good stuff.
digital pictures in
You
the
love it,
darkness,
right.
and I'm running recording equipment. Not one single.
Didn't we go to
What?
Shakers? Did we
That's
go to
disappointing.
We went to Shakers together
Yes.
once. That's what it was. Okay, there's the cigar bar in Milwaukee that's got the haunted ghost tour. Shakers. And Dolph and I were on that tour together.
That was freaky because they
freaky.
take us up into this room where supposedly a prostitute was murdered, and
Like you don't know about that, right? Supposedly.
Armin didn't they give you the
What are you
divining rods?
What is it? What's that?
They gave you like the divining rods or something,
They
right?
gave me the
and,
rods.
and they
yeah.
crossed.
I crossed the rods, and
Yeah.
they did cross on me. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Remind me to show. My wife and I went back there a couple years after that,
Really?
and remind me to show you a picture, a very interesting picture that I took about seeing something at Shaker's Cigar Bar, one of the most haunted bars in America, down in Walker's Point on Second Street.
The other deal here, Billy, is I started cracking jokes. And I don't think the tour guide appreciated that. I don't think that.
I'm stunned by that.
Because even if we get out of there with this tour, he's the one giving the tour. So if the ghosts don't like the joke I'm making, he can't duck the smoke from the ghost.
He's got to come back
You
and
see
catch
the
it.
spirits and the ghosts and all those things. So, you
Yeah.
never know what's out there.
Well, I watch a lot of ghost shows, Armin. That's the right thing to do. Provoking is what you do to these
Right,
ghosts to get
right.
them to come out.
Just keep poking the bear a little bit more.
It's pretty wild. So my only point is here is we need to work on these guys work with the ghosts to work on these guys more because right now it's not working.
It's
guys.
on us too. We
Yeah.
could have acted as guests at 1:30 in the morning. Monday night.
Could have
We
called
could've-
some hotel rooms.
Yeah, we could have walked
Yeah.
through, maybe
Grab some fire
grabbed
alarms.
some chains, went through the halls, made some
Well,
noise.
There's been a lot of talk about angels in the outfield this year. Of course, they got the movie. Now we need an angel right now, right? I mean, obviously, and angels in the outfield, those guys were making that ball spin every way. That looked like Yamamoto had an angel last night.
We need an angel named Jose Quintana.
Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe Jacob Mizorowski. Maybe an angel called on base percentage.
That would
You know?
help.
Right.
Like, you can't even be upset with runners in scoring position. The Brewers were 2 for 30 last night after the solo shot.
Yeah.
There was no action there. I like this one from Nick and Grafty. You want a spin zone, fellas? I actually don't mind this. Rather have this and win 2 of 3 in LA, come back with momentum, and you have to win 2 at home.
I like it, Nick.
Let's go. I like the positivity.
Then they lose 3 in a row, and then hopefully we come back feeling like this. We got this. I
One
like that, too.
small advantage they have is a 5:08 p.m. Milwaukee time first pitch. That's 3:00 in LA. Traffic's a nightmare. That place is going to be a little over half full probably for the first 4 innings of that game. Yeah, so I guess that's one thing we have. Maybe if the Brewers can jump out early and get on Tyler Glass now, who knows? That's what they need, though. They need to score 4, maybe 5 runs in the first 4 or 5 innings, and then they'll probably get a win.
And obviously, it's happened a lot. I mean, I kind of remarked about the times we've been down 2-0 here in our town. Obviously, the Bucks had it twice that deficit in 2021 when they won the title. Brewers did in 82 against the Angels. There's been plenty of examples. Your 96 Yankees were down 2-0 to the Braves.
That's right.
Lost the first 2 at Yankee Stadium.
They got murdered in one of those games.
Yeah,
It was like 11-0. I think
12-1.
a ball Andrew Jones hit is still going for Atlanta.
Lost the first 2 at Yankee Stadium. Went to Atlanta, won 3, came back to Yankee
That's true.
Stadium and won. So you know what? These things can happen.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
We didn't come this far to just come this far and just to say, okay, we didn't come this far for that. I'm sorry. The Brewers worked their butts off every day, day in and day out. Hundreds of hits of production, runs, preventing runs, wins every day. George Webb run to get 97 to fight and win a big playoff series against the Cubs. Not to sit here and just throw our hands up and say, oh, well, it's over. No, there's no reason for that. We're not going to do it. All right, we're not going to do it. So
there very much won't be a wilt factor, Armin. I'm with you on that. I would be stunned to see the team kind of fade and not scrap and give anything that they have to try to get back into the game. It's a daunting task, no doubt about it, but it does start with being able to capitalize on that Dodger crowd that might be a little sleepy. Just to add a little bit more into it, previous postseason starter to go the distance, this surprised me. 8 years to the day in Game 2 of the 2017 ALCS, Justin Verlander. That just shows how uncommon it is to trust a guy to continue to go, not get an itchy trigger finger to go to your 100-mile-an-hour flamethrowers out of the bullpen, But when he's throwing a 3-hitter and he seemingly got more confident and swaggy on the mound as the game went by, I was with Dave Roberts. There was no way I was going to pull him, especially after what happened the night before.
Metrics will tell you to pull him after the 8th at least, but Dave Roberts didn't look like he had a care in the world. Sitting on the bench, just chilling, just hanging, just relaxing back there in the background. Don't mind me. I'm just back here chilling out.
If you've ever seen what tenure in pro sports looks like, it's Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
Like that feels like to me the professor that's just being able to chill. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
If I get gassed here, I'll go somewhere else. But I got 2 World Series title and I'm feeling very much okay.
That part is very true. However, I always thought it'd be tough to be him because you almost will never get the respect.
Never get the full credit.
He's sitting there on the bench last night watching his guys cook, and he's, you'll never get respect for it. It'll always be, hey, you just threw out the, you just rolled out the balls for the All-Star team. You just started the Monstars. Congratulations. But you're right, Billy. That is tenure.
Hey,
you're never going to get rid of them, right?
And think about the drought that team went through until the COVID year, 2020. They've got 2 rings in the last 4 years, or 5, whatever it is. But before that, what was it? 88. 88. That's I don't believe what I just saw series against the A's. I forgot about
an
that.
incredible amount of great teams that didn't advance in the playoffs.
Yeah.
100+ win teams.
106 wins on one of them.
So, but maybe they're getting they're getting made again.
Well, they're finally learning how to win in the postseason. I like this one from Dave in Appleton. I went to see the Eagles at the Pfister 3 years ago. I sat at the bar and tried to ask the bartender about any activity. She looked at me and said, "I can't talk about it. I'll be fired on the spot."
Oh my gosh!
My boss is watching me right now.
I would think they would want to live that up. Like the rave.
Think.
The rave does ghost tours. Where you can go down and see the haunted pool and all the stuff you don't normally get to see when you go to a show. I would think the Pfister would do the same thing. Maybe not, though. It's a classy place.
I don't think you're thinking about it right. Let's see what she said again here, Billy. She said, "I can't talk about it. My boss is watching me."
Yeah.
Who's her boss? Maybe the boss or the ghosts upstairs.
Charlie
You see what I'm saying? Those are the bosses. Maybe those
I'm hearing what you're saying.
Remember, you know what I'm saying?
Who's I can't remember who the ball player was. They said that there was all kinds of activity going on in the middle of the night. Oh, it was the guy who played here from South Korea. He was with the Angels at the time.
Okay.
Remember, big first baseman.
Ji-Man Choi.
Ji-Man Choi. He said he got no sleep at all when he was in on a road trip here.
I like Ryan Muskego. Armin, it's Casper, the friendly ghost. That's the problem. Like you're saying, he's fluffing their pillows and probably rubbing their feet at
Right,
night.
that's what I'm saying. Hey, Casper is too friendly. You got to get a little tougher on it. Don't you remember
Can't be
Casper?
tickling him.
And when Casper turned into a kid, remember the end of that movie? When Casper
I
turned
can't say I do.
Oh, you probably didn't grow up in that. You didn't grow up in that era when that was like a kids movie. It was Devin Sawa, who was also the quarterback in Little Junior and Little Giants.
Sure.
And Little Giants. So come on.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it in a while. I should definitely go back and add it to the repertoire again.
It wouldn't go down as one of your top non-scary Halloween movies of all time, like with
If I made a ranking like that, it might.
Hocus Pocus probably at the top, maybe. Or
My wife
Nightmare Before
just said,
Christmas.
"Oh, we haven't watched Hocus Pocus yet this October." I was like, "Well, dang." We almost made it. we had almost made it. Sadly, I know I'm going to see those Sanderson sisters too soon here coming up. Man. Dolph, always appreciate it, brother.
All right, fellas.
Take it easy. That is Scott Dolphin hanging out with us here on No BS. Statewide on the game. Tim Allen's here in 20 minutes. More of your reaction, more therapy as the Brewers are down 2-0. But I didn't hear a bell. The Brewers don't either. They're flying out to LA to try to take 2 of 3, come back to AmFam and shock the world and make some history. It's No BS on the game.
would you want me? If I couldn't get you finer things like all of them diamond rings, kill for, would you still roll? If we couldn't see the sun rising off the shore of Thailand, would you ride then? If I wasn't driving, if I wasn't a 8-figure by the neighbor jigger, would you come around me or would you clown me? If I couldn't flow futuristic, would you put your 2 lips on my pussy? Could you see yourself with a working harder than 9 to 5, 10 to 6, 2 jobs to survive? Or do you need a baller so you can shop into the mall? Brag, tell your friends what I bought you. If you couldn't see yourself with a when this dough is low, baby girl, if this is so, yo, can I get a what? Do these chickens from all over?
I'd take a what or a base hit after the first inning. That would help. It's No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you statewide on the game. 877-794-1973. 1070 the game. 101.3 in Rhinelander and 95.3 in Appleton. Thanks for hanging out with us, and you can find us on the YouTube chat as well.
Yes,
we're hanging out with you and chopping it up. It's a disappointing moment here, but the Brewers are potentially far from done as they continue to try to fight through. Critical Mass on the YouTube chat said, Armin, with all kinds of loser talk this morning. He obviously didn't listen to Drew Olson yesterday when he went over how the Dodgers built this roster.
First of all, maybe my talk is loser talk. I'm trying to be positive, but we lost. So I'm a loser.
That's fair.
This
yeah,
morning.
we are losers.
This morning. I am a
Yes.
loser this morning. Now, did I listen to Drew yesterday? To my friend and close confidant, colleague, mentor, Drew Olson. I'm sorry I didn't listen to all of it. I missed some of the show. I'm really sorry. Now, I don't know exactly what my man Critical Mass here was referring to about loser talk and not listening to the Dodgers. Yeah, the Dodgers did build the team. I think some people, I think what he's getting to, the Dodgers did build this team not just by money, right? They've had a good organization.
Yep.
They've combined what they've done organizationally with a lot of deep pockets and a lot of the ability to get a lot of stars and to absorb big contracts, good or bad, in different ways with their money. So is it loser talk? I don't think it's loser talk. Did they build other ways than just buying talent? Yes. Did buying their best talent really help them? Yes.
It absolutely does. There haven't been a ton of just straight up purchases in the offseason and free agency, right? Outside of Ohtani and Freeman,
which are big,
which
purchases.
seem like big ones, right? Seem like big ones.
I'm sorry, they are.
Right, like, but Will Smith, I believe, is a homegrown guy. They've in many situations developed really, really good prospects and then shipped them off for great players. They've also traded some really good players like Yordan Alvarez to other teams in search of titles, and it had not worked. So I mean no disrespect when I say it that way, right? If you have the possibility to play that way, you absolutely should. The onus is on other teams to match it that have those different types of resources. And Daryl in Deerfield is 1,000% correct at 877-794-1973. How about a little less whining about the Dodgers payroll and a little more discussion about the Brewers shrinking as the lights get brighter? Daryl, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
0 for his last 17 is Christian Yelich right now. That's why the Brewers lose. It's not the fact that Freddie Peralta isn't able to get through, we can him and haw and be frustrated over 5 or 6 innings. It's the fact that you had 2 hits after a leadoff home run.
You need offense. You need some more offensive production, or at least some sort of movement on offense to get something
Any
going.
bit of stress.
No one's ignoring that. I don't think anyone's ignoring that. So I know we have
that is the first, second, and third on the list of different gripes that you can have at this moment. And I think the Dodger payroll one is one that's very, very easy to point out. I think it's more of an explanation than anything. It very much can sound like an excuse, and I totally get that. But as Armin, you said, you're very accurately pointed out, we are the losers this morning. So we do have to take a little bit of the loser talk. And also accepting a little bit of the trolling that's coming from the north side of Chicago. Good on them. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's fine. That's part of it. To the victor go the spoils. That's
part
what
of
we did,
it.
and they're going to troll us back. That's fine. I do think it is kind of funny that they accuse the Brewers of being obsessed with the Cubs. And now they're all
then now
over
they
the
get to be
Brewers.
the ones to be obsessed
That's
with.
okay. That's part of the process. I don't really mind.
Part of the game.
We still beat them, so that's fine with me. You're right. I mean, they've got to hit better. Yelich has to hit better. We've talked about all that. Brad and Elkhart Lake didn't, said media needs to call out Yelich. No RBI since 2018 playoff. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't played in all those games, but yes, I don't know, calling someone out means really. It's like the whole holy and accountable thing. We've talked about it in the first segment. We talked about it right away. He's your best hitter or one of your best hitters,
Yes.
along with Terang, along with pick a guy right now. They need to step up, and they haven't. Nobody has. So that is part of the problem. We're calling them out. I also don't want to sit there and go too far the other way and say, well, he's useless, he's worthless, he stinks, he doesn't matter, he's a choke. Like some people like going to that level of
Sure.
it. I don't either. But there's been no question about it. He's one of the main reasons you are not succeeding right now, because he is not hitting, and you count on him to hit.
Yes.
If you know 5 friends, Billy, and they all have a different skill, and you know one of your buddies is a plumber, and one of your guys fixes cars, and one of your guy can make a souffle for dinner, or souffles for bribe, no idea.
One of the two.
Or one of your guys can do
Depends
your
how they put
taxes.
in it.
You count on those guys to do all those things. So if my buddy that does taxes all of a sudden can't do taxes, he becomes a problem or doesn't become useful. If all of a sudden my guy that's a plumber comes over and the house is leaking and he can't help and he makes it worse, he's not be part of the solution. He's part of the problem. And that's the situation the Brewers are in right now. The guys you need to do those things, haven't been able to do it, and Yelich is A1. That being said, I also think to say Blake Snell has crushed, Yamamoto has crushed, these have been very good pitchers that are paid the money to be very good, not like fly-by-night guys, not Chris Sainz getting lucky one night. These are great pitchers that have pitched great, that there's something to do with that too, and that's how you're getting beat right now.
Yeah, you're not getting soup-oned.
Right.
Like, I mean,
right.
in that situation, and for that matter, you're right. It's not, maybe it's a little easier to stomach and swallow that way. Pause. But there's something to knowing that you're getting beat by a better team. The performances on the other side are markedly better than you right now. And I'm with you. I don't know that the name calling and the different adjectives to throw on, or nouns, whatever you'd want to say, as to what the guy is doing, a bum and this. I also think the tough thing about Christian Yelich is he's still one swing away can be more productive. At least I will continue to fight and believe that him with 4 to 5 at bats is better than your next available option.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
like I've seen a couple of people say like Yelich shouldn't be on the field or in the lineup or in the 4-hole. I mean, sure, but I would counter with who else after last night deserves to be in that spot.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Bauer's got a shot, but yeah, you're right. I mean, what are you gonna do? Not play your guy?
He's your dude. 145 games or 150 games for the year, 29 home runs. He's one of the reasons why you're here. So if you're going to go down, you're going to go swinging with your horses that got you here. And absolutely, it comes down to those guys to be able to play much better. Ron and Salas, good question. Where did the Woodpeckers go? Last time we saw them was in game 1 of the DS, when the whole you need to hit home runs in the postseason feels like that talk got to their head. Since game 2 of the Cubs series, they've scored 3 runs without the aid of the long ball.
Yeah.
Just seems like the approach has gotten completely lost there.
That might be true. They obviously
Something to
tried to hit early balls last night. I'm not going to say it was a totally bad decision right away. It worked for Churio. They had a strategy. It didn't work. We did Woodpeck in 1 inning this series. It was the 9th inning of game 1. That was classic Woodpecker stuff. Have not been able to continue it. Have to going forward if you're going to survive in this series.
Okay, dude, are you done yet? Are you done with the LA rap?
Oh, yeah, you're right. This is Kendrick.
I mean, like,
sorry. No
I didn't
more
know
LA.
if I was the only one, but now
No
it's not just me. Jeffrey said, there you go again, Armin. No more LA songs. All New York from this way out.
New York, Midwest.
Yeah, shocker. All right, hour 2 starts up with Tim Allen. He definitely doesn't want any of this. No BS on the game.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Billy Joel songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, My Life.
I don't care what you say anymore. This is my life. Go ahead with your own life. Leave me alone.
Number 2, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me.
Nowadays you can't be too sentimental. Your best bet's true, baby blue continental. Hot funk, cool funk, even if it's old junk, it's still rock and roll to me.
Number 1, Uptown Girl.
Uptown girl, she's been living in her white bread world as long as anyone with hot blood can. And now she's looking for a downtown man. That's what I am.
Hear more from Billy Joel and similar artists now. Search for Billy Joel on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Eagles songs that you thumbed up. Number 3, Life in the Fast Lane.
He was too tired to make it. She was too tired to fight about it. Life in the fast lane, sure to make you lose your mind. Life in the fast lane, life in the fast lane, everything, all the time.
Number 2, Take It Easy.
Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels make you crazy. Come on, baby, don't say nay.
Number 1, Hotel California.
There were voices down the corridor. I thought I heard them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely place.
Hear more from the Eagles and similar artists now. Search for the Eagles on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Here are the top Queen songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, We Are the Champions.
We are the champions of the world.
Number 2, We Will Rock You.
You got mud on your face, big disgrace. Somebody better put your bag into your place. We will rock you. Sing it. We will rock you.
Number 1, Another One Bites the Dust.
Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
Hear more from Queen and similar artists now. Search for Queen on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. iHeartRadio. Here are the top Elton John songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Tiny Dancer.
All the clothes are tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Baby darling, she's so blending.
Number 2, Rocket Man.
I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man. Burning out the fuse out of every home.
Number 1, Benny and the Jets.
She's got electric boots. I'm more food. You know I'm better than a magazine. No. Benny and the Jets.
Hear more from Elton John and similar artists now. Search for Elton John on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
WRNW Milwaukee, available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now number 1 for podcasting. 97.3 The Game, an iHeartRadio station.
No BS on the game. Just reading a very impressive stat that Shohei Ohtani is 1 for his last 23 and hitting under 130 this postseason and under 200 for his postseason career as we welcome in Tim Allen off of the 5-1 last night against the LA Dodgers for the Brewers. You know, if those numbers were in a Brewers uniform, Timmy, sadly, it might look like Christian Yelich. But Shohei Ohtani, they don't necessarily need any of that production because of the respect that he's still garnering at the top of the lineup. He welcomes himself into the series yesterday with an RBI base hit with the infield drawn in. Felt like it was already curtains before that, but one more tack-on run made it 4-1. Another made it 5-1. 11 hits for the Dodgers. That would feel more woodpecker than the 3 that the Brewers are able to scrap in yesterday.
Yeah, and you're not fighting. You're not grinding these at-bats. So
Right.
you got to get back to doing that offensively.
Well, it seemed like they wanted to get after Yamamoto early. Like that was a definite game plan early in the game. It worked for Churio, but unfortunately, I think that part of it is the backfire part, right, Timmy? If you don't get those hits, then you're not woodpecking.
For anybody, and it's going to extend that outing for that starting pitcher because you look at the pitch count for this dude, and you could eyeball. Oh man, you're going to have a big inning, a crooked number here to knock him out, and by then you're thinking, well, you're going to have the lead then, and then you can tack on the runs on the Dodgers bullpen. It just didn't happen. You didn't. You went to ambush and you went on the attack, and I get it. I totally understand, but that's the caveat. That's the warning. To do that, you need to be successful, or you run the risk of the dude settling in. And you look at that pitch count. I was just shaking my head, saying, "No, you're going to have to start grinding and foul some pitches off." And on a 2-2 count, yeah, you're vulnerable right there, but foul one off. Start dialing in a little bit. They just cannot get going offensively. And the rarity of 8 innings from a starter in the NLCS and followed up by a complete game.
Yeah.
That's just so rare.
Yeah, I mean, Timmy, it kind of surprised me that the last time a starter went the distance in the playoffs was Verlander in 17. But it just shows what today's game is, especially in the playoffs, that once somebody gets to, I don't know, in trouble with 65 pitches, they're ready to go and run out there. Third time through. And when somebody is just absolutely cooking, like Yamamoto was last night, you give a little bit of credit to the Dodgers for not even thinking about it. But the night before, you jump, and maybe they could have trotted Snell out there for the 9th and felt just as confident in it. And I think they also learned their lesson because they realize, and Armin mentioned it early, it still feels like the Brewers can tap the Dodger bullpen. You just got to be able to force to see it at some point.
Get to it. I mean, that's been the game plan all the way through here. Freddie Peralta, I thought, pitched decent last night. I do. And I know that shocks some people, like, oh, is Freddie an ace or is he just the Brewers ace? He pitched well enough to keep this team in the game, mid-game, and chances are you're going to be into their bullpen by about the time the Dodgers are into the Brewers bullpen. And you like that advantage. The only difference is you didn't get to the Dodgers bullpen in either game until the 9th inning of game 1.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of that last night, like, is Freddie an ace? Is he, to me this year, he's been an ace in every sense of the word. He doesn't give you the huge bulk innings, and he never did, and he never will. But the reality is, I think he's done his job. He did his best. It is really difficult when you're not getting run support. And I think it puts a little pressure on you as a pitcher, knowing your offense is struggling so much. Ben Sheets, remember when Ben Sheets had this problem, Timmy, like in 2004, right? When he would never get run support, and there was this feeling like, I can never, ever give up a run. And then you can sort of feel that pressure sometimes, the pitching staff.
Where's Yoeli Chacin when you need him?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm
But
loving what he's doing right now.
How did the Brewers get in this situation of starting pitchers?
Well, and that was brought up on the talk and text line, Timmy. They said, I understand that the hitting's not here, but what happened to the pitching rotation? I know Woodruff is hurt, but all this playing poker with all these pitchers all of a sudden and not knowing who's going to start and when to start them. When did all this go down? When did this change?
Yeah, it's curious because they're right on the money. Woody goes down, and I didn't expect him back at all in the postseason. I just thought they were holding off on that negative announcement. We'll probably learn more soon on that injury, but to to have some confidence in your starters might be a thing to do here. I don't know if that's going to help the offense. I mean, quite frankly, but the other day Murphy said we're down to a starter and a half. Wait, what?
I think there's still 4 on this roster, and I'd like to know what happened to Priest or Quintana's opportunities.
Well, and is Quintana, I think there's still a question now, at least for me, and is like, how healthy is Quintana really?
One or the other, Armin. It's one or the other. Either they don't trust his stuff or he's not fully healthy. There's no two ways to look at it. When you do have a starting pitching issue, which clearly they do, what would it be then? Tell me why Jose Quintana threw 7 postseason games, 7, with some off days sprinkled in there. How in the world does he not have a start? I'm not saying he's going to haul off and throw 6 2/3 of shutout baseball, but you never know. I mean, he is a crusty veteran. I don't know. It's just one or the other. He's either not fully healthy or they just see some metrics that they don't like. You know, whatever it might be in their pitching lab.
Well, and I do wonder if there's been some, like, again, I think maybe something went down with the Rhys Hoskins deal. Like, it's too puzzling for him to go from April and May, he's the leader of the team, to not on the postseason roster with any really batting of an eye. And Quintana, Timmy, like, he's their only, again, it doesn't matter that they paid $4 million for him in the preseason, in spring training, but he's like your only free agent pickup in the offseason. And you would have thought that it gets you this close that you would at least give it an opportunity or a shot, when nothing else that any other card that you've pulled hasn't necessarily seemed to come up aces.
I mean, my eyesight's a little bit different, you know, in looking back on things. It's 2020. But you wonder, could the Brewers get away without a Brandon Lockridge on this NLCS? Especially now we can talk about it, since the Brewers are having an offensive output problem. Their last 5 games, they're 1-4. They've lost 4 of their last 5 playoff games. Really, when you think about that metric, they're lucky to even still be alive.
100% they are, Timmy. Yes, you're 1,000% right. And I would say with the Lockridge one, how on earth would you have been able to advance to third base last night? Like, other than that being it, you would have to wait for the walk to be able to push you there on the tag up. I'm with you. It does, though, make me wonder, because you mentioned Woodruff. They've been so coy about it. He said last night to Lauren Shahadi on the TV broadcast that if we advance to the next round, I'm hoping, or I'm thinking, I'm working and efforting myself to be ready for that.
Not even throwing.
Yeah, it's just like that. That's, Timmy, that feels like a lot of hope and optimism when you're not, like you said, even throwing.
I'm all for it too, just to stay away from any negative vibe. I'm all for it, but I
keep hope alive.
This is me personally. I wasn't buying it. It just from hearing Woody speak for years and seeing how the organization handled that. But, you know, is it the playoff jinx again, rearing its ugly head through, however, one playoff series victory? Maybe. You've got 3 veterans instrumental in an 0-2 deficit here of Jose Quintana, Rhys Hoskins, and Brandon Woodruff. I mean, those were 3 key individuals here. I say were, but they're not done yet. But they really hurt this team. Those 3 guys, this is sort of the time of year where you depend on those guys.
Well, I was going to say, especially in this situation against this team, you need every piece of what you can have. You need the whole clip. And unfortunately, the Brewers don't have it now. And it's obviously becoming an issue. And the guys that are in there too have to perform a little bit. And that's part of the problem. And you have your guys in the right places, you believe, but you have to get something going offensively. Now, it kind of surprised me a little bit. I'm curious to know what you think about this, Timmy, because you're really always in touch and in tune with Pat Murphy and the decision-making. You have a situation like last night where you're struggling to generate offense. You know, I'm not generally for bunting or stealing bases, but Sal gets on with a walk, or maybe it was a hit. It was a base hit. Sal gets on. You're down by 1. It's 2 outs. You've got nothing going. Are you surprised you don't try and steal there? You don't do something there to try and make something happen and give yourself a chance.
Yeah, I agree. Who was it? Andrew Vaughn reached on air to lead off an inning. You force a play. You don't force them to make a play. Look, the Dodgers got pretty sloppy in that game. Now, one was a foul ball.
They had like 3 overthrows in a row.
That's right.
One was
and
a
one
foul
was
ball.
a foul
Yeah.
ball.
One
right.
was a fielder's choice, and one, yeah, exactly.
But it still was a sloppy kind of thing. And right at that time, hey, force them to make a little play here. Yeah, I 9 runs in the last 5 games is just simply not going to get it done. And you're right, Armin, in that these guys got to perform. I don't know what else to tell you, boys. Look, you could have God pitching on the mound. You're still going to have to find a way to score some runs. I mean, 5 hits and 2 runs in 2 games. I don't care about the opposition. You have to do better offensively. There's no magic potion here. There's nothing's going to change anything strategy wise. I mean, I guess you could go back to the lineup that you had in games 1, 2, and 5 in the Cubs series. All 3, by the way, wins.
That
could
would
do
be,
that.
Maybe be interesting.
Yeah, might be interesting to go at it that way. My guess is they will. My guess is Perkins with an expanse of Dodger Stadium is going to be there in center. So I think you'll see that lineup on Thursday. What is that? Tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow.
And you started to kind of see some of the issues. I mean, there were balls that were hanging up in gaps that I thought our guys would get to, and they didn't. So it would be nice to maybe have Perkins back in there. And you mentioned it. We have to have God pitching, so maybe it will be Miz. I don't know.
I was just going to say, let's find Jesus Christ in the batter's box.
So game 3 is game 7 now, right? So the Brewers have to win this game if they want to have a chance. So their best guys have to go. Everything's on the table. So who's going to get the bulk appearance?
That's the thing. That's the thing. That the goal has to be to get to Saturday.
And I think it's
that has to be the goal. You got to win one of the next 2 or bye-bye. Okay, so you get to Saturday. Before it was, hey, you got to get back home. Well, now you got to, reel it in a little bit. And as I said last night on the post-game show, you're putting yourself into some pretty rough down and distance here.
Yes. Yeah, we're sitting at 2nd and 25. Like this is
like
a long slog. You got to pick a big chunk.
3rd and 16. You got to get a 4th and gettable.
Yes, you got to be able to trim it and make it somewhat manageable where you don't have to just run 4 verts.
That's right. But I mean, you can't just check down now. I mean, you're going to have to go get it. You downfield a little bit. But Armin, to your point, okay, let's say it's Quintana and Mizorowski tonight, which to me would be okay. I see that, right? I mean, I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. Quintana to start, Miz to piggyback. Who the hell's going to pitch on Friday then?
Nick Mears.
It's a great question, but it could
potentially Grant Anderson.
No,
Chad Patrick.
Somebody's gonna have to be able to get in there.
Or it might be a mix and match by bullpen, or maybe
mix and match. It'd be everybody. You'd use all 13 pitchers. Freddie would not be available. Freddie's not available tomorrow or Friday.
No.
Would Quentin Priester be available?
I think he would be on Friday.
Would have to be.
You have to get some stuff out of him,
and that's short rest, right? Didn't he pitch Monday?
Yeah, but you don't assume it's gonna be a full start. So I kind of think of these guys as having 2 innings in them. Like,
Ashby, they're going to lean on him a little bit.
He's pitched every other game.
Yeah, he's going to be in every game. There's no playoff game that they're going to play that he's not going to factor into.
Are they, doing photo opportunities with Aaron Ashby every time they put him in a critical situation? Hey, we can get these photos for the media guide or baseball card pictures. Aaron, you're going to pitch today. It's picture day.
It's picture day every single day.
It's nice for Gasser to get his playoff moment, though. Striking out Ohtani, making Ohtani's helmet spin around. He's going to have his grandkids.
There you go. Maybe Gasser's the bulk guy.
You never know. I mean, he's going to tell us.
Well, you hope that Tobias Myers is going to be. Whoops, that didn't work out last night. So, there's times when you needed somebody to be able to take it on the chin, and you just were unable to get anybody to provide you some length. So, Timmy, you're spot on. They're going to have to try to find it somewhere. But all of this conversation feels really moot if you're not going to get something from Contreras, Yelich, Turang, the rest of the lineup consistently outside of a solo shot from Churio in the first inning.
Could you make the argument that the offensive issues outside of games 1 and 2 in the NLDS, if you look back to heading into the postseason toward the end of the regular season schedule, a week to go and you throw Yelich into the leadoff spot. And then we questioned that at that time.
Yeah.
Like, what? Wait, what?
Definitely did.
Where did this come from? We're just going to give him a leadoff spot here. Well, you wonder why he didn't knock in any runs down the stretch there, because you're hitting behind Joey Ortiz, who can't get out of his own way offensively. He's back to providing absolutely zero offensively. We can get on Contreras and some of these other stars for not, finding some gaps and hitting one over the wall once in a while, but you are getting zero from Joey Ortiz. Well, what are you going to do? I'm not going to blame all this on Ortiz,
right?
But no wonder the top of the order. You have your best hitter in the postseason right now is Jackson Chourio hitting behind Joey Ortiz. You're not going to have a lot of base runners there.
No, it's not. That's not going to play.
So
going to add in.
So my point is, heading into the final week of the season, heading into that, you dippled around and threw Yelich up there to see what would happen, I think, and it was too comfortable. And now, you're going to have to start putting your players in positions to knock in runs. Who wants to hit behind those guys 8 and 9? There's not many of these hitters that want to hit behind that. Christian Yelich, you expect him to do something. He's never done anything in the postseason.
Yeah, the postseason has not been his friend. So this would be more characteristic of what he has been able to do in the playoffs.
Well, maybe Timmy going on the road is just what this team needs right now. Maybe this team's been at the stadium, been home now for a few games at American Family Field. Maybe getting on a plane last night, checking into a hotel, a new change of scenery, having to put the gray uniforms on, having no expectations, walking into a stadium and a fan base that is expecting to waltz home to the World Series. Maybe that's exactly what they need right now.
Yep, maybe. And just clear your head, flight, and check in, and just, hey, everyone's counting us out now. That I'm not giving up. I'm not giving in.
Right.
I think this is key tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. But every time we start doubting this team, even including earlier this year, what did they do? They just bounced back. Hey, it's been known that the Brewers can put together a 2-game winning streak this season. I think they've proven to us that they can put together a streak here, 8, 11, and 14. I'm not giving up yet. Are the odds against them? Of course. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. But I take it one game at a time. It's tomorrow. You make it 2-1, and don't you provide still just, even if it's a little bit, but just a little more pressure on the Dodgers, just with the one win tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a little more pressure on them.
Well, because, Timmy, I think the unknown of Ohtani pitching in game 4 does help. Now, granted, he's been very good. He's been very, very good going the last couple of times out. However, he hasn't been able to pitch for the Dodgers in the postseason. Never pitched in the MLB postseason. So maybe he is Yamamoto and looks like Cy Young. Or maybe he's a little gettable and you can see something. I do think you're spot on, though, on a little bit of a Hail Mary. You got to try to push the ball down the field. You got to take a few risks. Our 608 texts have come in of, would you shake up the lineup? Is there one? He said small ball and bunts. I know that's always going to be something near and dear to your heart. But when you're looking to try to manufacture anything, Armin and I are generally in, let's look to try to provide some kind of big inning. You need any bit of a spark. So maybe that does become trying to steal your way onto first base, since that's been very, very difficult for you to do.
And what do you do? What do you want to attack Glass now?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to.
I mean, you're going to set yourself up. I don't think that should be like an overall game plan.
Because it clearly was last night.
It was last night.
It didn't work. And I agree with you, Timmy, in general. Now, I'm not sure if they saw something on video. I'm not sure if they looked at that July 7th outing where the Brewers chased him in less than, an inning and said, we got to get to this guy early. That's our best chance. But generally, I agree with you. They're going to have to take some pitches against this guy.
They got to grind out. Yes. There were not a lot of grindy at-bats last night. Not a lot of foul balls. You can tell that by the pitch count.
Yeah.
They weren't fighting for 6, 7, 8 pitch at-bats. They were all 3, 4. And that is risky. And that's the other side of that risk when you ambush. I like to ambush once in a while. I think the opposition does it more than the Brewers do it. So I'm one that has always liked to see that once in a while, just a little bit more. I'm not saying that that's this team is built on doing that, because it's clearly not. They're built on seeing a ton of pitches. Get back to that a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me with a win tomorrow if they go on the attack against Ohtani on Friday. That would not surprise me. But tomorrow, I think every at-bat is a team at-bat. In other words, you got to fight. There's no overall game plan. It's get to first base, as Murph says.
Would you throw Sal Frelick up? Tristan Wausau said Frelick at the top, Churio in the 3 spot, Terang at 6.
You enjoyed a ton of success with Frelick up there, and you put Jackson Churio in a run producing spot.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to go there. Yes.
You might try something, but he hasn't really done much either. And I know Yelich was getting a lot of the rips today, this morning, and everybody else, Bryce Terang. Nobody's been hitting. You can put Sal in leadoff, but he hasn't really done much either. He did have a hit last night, a seeing eye single, so I don't know. You could try it, though. I'm not against trying it, but I think you're right. It's more important that every at-bat, these guys are going to have to fight like it's their last meal, bottom of the 9th at-bat. You have to focus every pitch and try and grind your way on base. And
get to first base. It's going to be a hostile environment. We saw what happened in Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that hostile.
I don't either. I really don't. I mean, I think it'll be hostile in that
it's going to be loud.
Yeah, I mean, team, but like Dolph mentioned earlier, Timmy, it's going to be a 3:08 local time first pitch on Thursday afternoon.
That tempers it a little bit.
So, I mean, you should be able to, in theory, try to strike early, and you can kind of take the crowd that arrives in the third inning somewhat out of the game if you can start fast. But I'm not worried about any of the external components of starting fast. You got to inspire a little bit more confidence and belief into your own clubhouse and dugout. Because right now, you mentioned the team at bats, those can also bode well for giving a little bit of morale. Because right now, this seems pretty bleak in that dugout. It does not seem like the group that we've been seeing throughout the majority of the year.
I mean, Yelly, run into one. Contreras, Terang, as you mentioned, Armin, run into one. How about a check swing off the barrel and it's just lines, little looping line drive to right field, just fair, and you waltz into second base.
We could use some breaks. It felt like we were hitting into a lot of fielders last night.
That too,
good hard contact.
Too.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about
that
later
too.
on?
Contreras with that was a tough one there, 111, and wow, what are you gonna do?
How about our guy Farmer Fred? Guys, cheer up. Brewers are 4 wins away from the World Series.
I love it.
All right, let's go, Farmer Fred.
Hey, they're still alive,
My
man.
guy,
There's
Farmer Fred.
How many other teams wish they were in the Brewers spot right now?
Well, just wait.
A lot.
He said the Brewers are 4 wins away from the World Series. The Cubs are 100 wins away from the World Series. I believe Ortiz should never have a bat in his hand. And when they have the closing pitcher in the game,
he took a walk because he never swung the bat, Armin.
That's what you do. That's what it's all about. If you're a guy like Ortiz,
that was Armin's game plan, Timmy. He was Joey Ortiz.
Ogilvy and Bad News Bears. Either get hit by a pitch or do not swing that bat. Just hope for a walk.
Let me tell you, we can say a lot, and we say it. You don't. The one thing I'll say about Ortiz getting it today, you don't expect Ortiz to give you anything offensively. You expect him to make.
That's a problem.
Plays. Yeah, but Timmy,
that's fair. That is fair.
It's not. It's not like I was telling Billy. He's not. If I expect a plumber to plumb and you're not plumbing, you got a problem. I don't expect Ortiz to be that guy. Now he gave me the walk last night. I'd like everyone else. Maybe it's because he doesn't believe he can hit. So I'd like everyone else to do that.
Is that walk going to be his postseason moment that you've been calling for?
He's got 3 walks and 2 hits in the postseason, I believe.
You know, and he was walking into the playoffs.
That's a decent on base percentage.
And I said that his things are looking better. Yeah.
That's good for a 125 on base percentage.
I mean, come on.
Well,
I mean,
listen,
just accidentally
who's got good
find
numbers
the
right now?
ball.
No, take walks.
Oh, pardon me. 263 on base percentage. I was reading his slugging percentage. My fault. I apologize.
Slugging.
Sorry, only second worst on the team.
But they all need better at bats, and that's the thing. And clear the head, get on the road, get into Dodger Stadium. The world is against you, and maybe that's what they need, man. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving in. Get a win and watch how things change on the spot.
Yeah, and do these umpires rotate because they have the line umpires? How do they rotate in this series? Is it
Yeah.
third to home or is it left to
Great
Not
question.
I
sure.
don't know.
Not sure.
I kind of want Chad Fairchild. I think we've had good success. He was at third last night. Let's get Chad Fairchild.
Is that what we're down to? Rooting
Yes.
for
Yes.
the umpires.
Down
That's what
2-0
I'm
and
at.
you lost both games at home, Timmy. It's bleak.
I'm looking for anything right now, and Yes, that's what we're down
How
to.
about Musgrave over the middle? He breaks a tackle and he turns a 3rd and 22 into a 4th and 3.
Okay, Luke Musgrave getting a catch or Joey Ortiz an extra base hit. Let's just quickly do a run on the numbers. Luke Musgrave with his 5 catches in 2025. Okay.
Well, hey.
More he's been on base. He's got as many catches as on base appearances for Joey Ortiz in this postseason.
Tucker Kraft.
I think really you gotta hope that the Dodgers will be relaxed, that they'll walk in expecting it to be over, and you hope to catch a sucker punch on them.
Yep.
Relax. That's what you got to hope for right now.
Well, there was a 4-0 Brewers victory in the 2018 NLCS, Timmy, and you got to start trying to find ways. The Woodpeckers need to be able to string together some base hits, and
there's no
Game
Jeremy
3
Jeffress
would help
this time.
Yeah, we've said that you're doing things differently than the other times you're in the NLCS. Not having Jeremy Jeffress give up Game 2, that was nice.
Yeah, that is good.
Never really had a chance in Game 2 last
and
night.
almost spit up another one in that series.
Oh yeah, it was bad. Hey, listen, this is the time where you can put the.
But
money
he
where your
kept
mouth
getting
is.
put in. Sorry, I apologize,
You're
Armin.
good.
But
Go off.
good Lord, did he get more opportunities in that series?
They'll welcome Aaron Ashby.
Plus 1,000 on the series market if you still believe in this.
And 18-1 to win the World Series at Potawatomi
so that's the
Sportsbook.
thing. Put your money where your mouth
What's
is.
it at to win this NLCS now?
They're plus 1,000.
10-1.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, I like that. He doesn't just hedge the other way. Let's change his narrative and put your money where your mouth is.
I was going to say this might need the magic Tim Allen touch, like the
might.
Brewers at 15-1.
This whole thing turned around on May 31st, man. It just maybe okay. I do have a free night tonight after 6 o'clock. By the way, at 5
Now we're
o'clock,
talking.
5 o'clock today will be a special edition of Playoff Push here on the game and the iHeartRadio app. So we'll get into more Brewers conversation today at 5.
Perfect. And then you will have a lot more Brewers conversation with myself tomorrow morning as you're in for Armin.
Yes.
Let's go.
Thank you for that, Timmy.
I mean, look, season's drawing to a close here. I got to get some work while I can.
Oh, we all might. It's a good time to be able to get as much work as possible. We appreciate it, brother.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There he is. Tim Allen hanging out with us here on No BS. Yes, he is going to be in for Armin tomorrow. Scheduled day off.
Scheduled day off to on Thursday and also one next week. Scheduled.
We got to throw that out there.
Usually you don't talk
Scheduled
about
day
it,
off.
but I'm talking about it right now. Yeah.
We just like to throw that in there. Scheduled day off very, very quickly. I like Mike Taylor said, hang in there, boys. Love listening to you guys. We love
Appreciate
that you
that.
love listening to us, and we appreciate you hanging out with us.
That's on the YouTube comments. I'll remind everyone you can always check in with us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, as well as obviously the iHeart app on the stream. And we're on the air in Madison on the AM 1070. So.
And the YouTube stream is and video is the only way that people actually see who's with the comment. So you get a little bit more publicity than just here on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. But we shout you out on the talking text line at 877-794-1973. Like Big T and NB, do you guys also feel like we're watching the exact same at bat over and over and over? Take the first pitch strike, swing at the second pitch, swing and miss something outside of the zone, third pitch ball, fourth pitch out every single at bat.
It is a little bit like feeding the dog and watching it poop over and over, over and over. Feeding them my daughter, actually. I don't have a dog, but I have a child, and she poops, and that's what it is. So, yeah, diaper, filth, next. It's like, it does feel like that a little bit.
Just wait. The older they get, the more they can feel like animals. Or maybe that's just boys. 877-794-1973. It's No BS on the game.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1973.
Led Zeppelin released their fifth album, Houses of the Holy. It goes to #1 in the US and the UK and yields the top 20 hit Dire Maker.
But I still love you so, and I can't let you go. I love you.
The Doobie Brothers released their top 10 album, The Captain and Me, with the singles Long Train Running and China Grove. And in June, Joe Walsh and Barnstorm have a top 10 album buoyed by the single Rocky Mountain Way. Also in June of '73, George Harrison scores the #1 single, Give Me Love, from the #1 album, Living in the Material World. And Chicago's sixth album goes to #1 with 2 top 10 hits, Just You and Me and Feeling Stronger Every Day. In July July, 600,000 Jam Watkins Glen for Summer Jam, the largest rock festival ever held in the U.S. It features the band, the Grateful Dead, and the Allman Brothers. And in August, those same Allman Brothers released their first album after the death of Duane Allman and had their only hit single with Ramblin' Man, which goes to number 2.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1973. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
In June of 77, Ram Jam have a top 20 U.S. hit single with the cover of Lead Belly's song Black Betty. Chicago area rock band Styx have a U.S. top 10 album Grand Illusion, including the top 10 single Come Sail Away.
Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me.
In July of 77, the Grateful Dead veered towards progressive rock, adding strings, horn, and a choir on their ninth studio album, Terrapin Station.
Terrapin, and the whistle is screaming, Terrapin.
In August of 77, the King dies. Elvis Presley's found dead in his home in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 42. Detroit rock vocalist Iggy Pop releases his second solo album, Lust for Life. It's his second collaboration with David Bowie. New York's Billy Joel releases his fifth album, The Stranger. It goes to number 2 in the U.S., with the single Just the Way You Are rising to number 3.
I want you just the way you are.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1973.
In November of 73, Billy Joel's second album yields a minor hit with Piano Man, which goes to number 25.
Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you got us feeling all right.
Ringo Starr continues his solo success with the number 2 album and 3 top 10 hits, including 2 number 1s, Photograph and You're 16. Meanwhile, John Lennon releases his 4th solo album, Mind Games, which goes to number 9 in the U.S. And in December, the single Taken Care of Business drives the second album by Canadian rock band Bachman Turner Overdrive to number 4. Emerson, Lake and Palmer released their 4th album, Brain Salad Surgery, which goes to number 11. And after passing away in a plane crash in September, Jim Croce has a posthumous number 1 with Time in a Bottle.
Looked around enough to know you're the one I want to go through time.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1973. Coming up.
I can't believe we have to make this commercial.
It's ridiculous.
You'll think it's ridiculous too. Listen to this.
This commercial is about, well, it's about parents being rude at high school athletic events.
Ridiculous, right?
It gets worse. Studies show more than 75% of new high school officials are quitting because of bad adult behavior.
So now there's a shortage of refs here in Wisconsin. In almost all sports.
No officials means no more games.
Is that what you want for us?
Come on, parents.
It's time to grow up.
Cheer for your team.
Be proud of your children.
But stop being so ridiculous.
And don't make us run another commercial.
Because we will.
This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association, reminding you to always practice good sportsmanship.
We all mine. Come on. So living it up. To everybody that be living it up, we say.
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you. 877-794-1973.
Typical everyday one night.
Only Phil has maybe a little bit of retort, maybe a question and answer for you, Armin. He said the first base umpire last night called 3 strikeouts on 3 batters, so he kicked ass. Maybe we get him behind home plate. I don't know how the rotation changes with the additional guys in there. Usually you go to the rocking chair after you call balls and strikes. So I think we might have to get to game 7 to get Fairchild.
That would be counterclockwise, but I don't know.
Well, that'd be clockwise, right?
Okay, so you go from
home plate to third base, right?
Oh, yes. I guess you're right. Yeah. Is that the rocking
You would just
chair?
start at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, third base is the rocking chair.
I think I thought first base was the rocking chair.
Oh, no, you're in the jackpot over there.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. So, yeah, then it'd be clockwise. So I guess it wouldn't be Fairchild then. Well, we'll see. Like Timmy said, if that's what we're hoping for, we're in a bad way. However, we're not out yet.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in.
We know what it's like being down but not out, and we're not out yet. And the Brewers have a chance to come back and do something really special, which is come back and be down 0-2 and come back and win a series. And that's what they're going to be trying to do. We'd be lying, intellectually dishonest if we said it didn't look bad right now. I think that's totally fair to say.
Bleak is the only way to say it. Yes, 100%. That's ultimately all you have on the positivity train. Let's go to 608 said, good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. Even though it was a bad loss last night, I've noticed from the crew is that these games, they're just swinging for the fences instead of trying to get base hits and simply get on base. Just feels like they're trying too hard. What are your thoughts?
I'm glad you brought that up, that text, because I want to know what you think, Billy. I've heard this before, swinging from the fences.
Now, I don't know. Obviously, I think it is counterintuitive to be trying to hit home runs, right? Like, I don't think that's generally where you get your best results. You hear baseball players say that far too many times. But I don't know enough about every individual's swing to know when it feels like they're getting out of their own rhythm, getting out of sorts, so to speak. But I think you can look at a lot of the approaches and see that maybe you're trying to do just a tick too much. Maybe gripping the bat just a little bit too tight. Trying to be a little bit too perfect. And I don't think that's surprising. I don't think that is only exclusive to this team. I think there would be a number of young teams thrust into this position, into the NLCS, going up against this LA Dodger team that would try to do too much. I think it's somewhat human nature, but I do see a little bit of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's possible, but you'd have to know, like you said, each individual guy's motivations in his head when he's up there. However, I do think the idea of we're swinging for the fences and not base hits is it's almost contradictory, because the whole point of what you're trying to do when you're up there is hit a ball hard, right? That's what every batter in baseball history has always tried to do. See a ball, make great contact, and hit it as hard as possible, because it increases your chance to get on base and not record it out. So in that sense, if batters and players are up there really trying to increase a launch angle and have that uppercut swing, then yeah. But I don't think there's a sense of don't swing for the fences. I remember Craig Counsell getting mad at one of the veteran reporters in Chicago when he said to Craig, they're trying to swing to Lake Michigan. And he goes, come on, really? Really, they're trying to swing to Lake Michigan? Like, we're out here trying to hit the ball hard. And I agreed with Craig.
Really, Jess, that's where you're going with?
Was it him? Yeah. They're trying to hit the ball hard. Now, whether or not you have uppercuts or not, I don't know. But when you're up there, you're trying to get hard contact. Pitchers are trying to induce weak contact. So I think it's hard to go up and say, well, don't swing for the fences, just swing for base hits. No, it's go up there and hit the ball hard. There's no like half swings or bloop type of swings. Guys aren't trying to, sometimes you try and inside out and go away with it. And I understand all that, but you're trying to get solid contact. So a lot of that to me is just, we don't like the result, so we're going to try and figure out, hey, was the process wrong? I'm not sure. That being said, I wouldn't mind being more selective at the plate. That's one thing I
think that's the easier one to see.
I'd be cool with that, because the more you are, obviously, you put yourself in better counts to see better pitches.
And at least maybe you can get into the bullpen a tick. Yeah. Like, I'm with you, Armin. I do still believe that you very much can get at this bullpen if you give yourself just a little bit of opportunity. Jake on the YouTube stream said, man, YouTube for the win. This is awesome. Also, why are we trying to bunt for some hits? Maybe anybody but Durbin trying to steal a base. We do need base runners try to steal a base. I think that's the number one deal. We do need to try to steal first base. And for the bunting for a hit, I am kind of surprised you haven't seen maybe Bryce Terang do it. Bo said, I agree with Jake. Need to mix it up when you're not hitting. And especially when the at-bats, Armin, to your last point, are leaving so much to be desired. I'm not against trying to throw the ball down onto the grass and see if you can beat one out over to first. When a number of different players on the Brewers, their A swing, you hear a lot of baseball players call it you're in a protect situation. Like you said, you're not seeing a lot of blooping swings. Just try to put the bat on the baseball and poke it somewhere. You're going up there with your A swing. The Brewers' A swings a lot of times generate hard contact that falls for base hits. That's why they lead the league in singles. You do need this always was the fear that when you got to the postseason, the ability to string multiple hits together in a lot of innings, that it was going to be tough.
Absolutely.
However, I don't know that we anticipated 17 innings of 2-run baseball or 1-run baseball by 2 starters going up against you.
No, and let's be fair. The times the Brewers have run into homers, it's helped them win their most important games.
Very true.
Lest we forget the Game 5 win against the Cubs. It was a 3-homer game. I will say, generally not my thing, as you know, Billy, bunting and stealing bases. I will say I thought Sal last night, with 2 outs, getting a hit, you finally get a guy on base. I thought that was the situation where he's okay. That's a situation where I could definitely see a stolen attempt, stolen base attempt making a lot of sense there. Was surprised they didn't try it. Was surprised Sal maybe didn't want to go in the zone. Especially Yamamoto doesn't have a super quick delivery. He kind of holds that up there. He kind of makes that whole motion. I know their catcher's been a little bit banged up. You might want to put pressure on him. So I would have said that would have been a good moment as well, but it didn't work. We'll see. It'd be interesting, Billy, to see with a day off what they look at, and if that approach changes now come Thursday. Just want to thank also really quick.
Come on.
Mr. Castaway said that, that's your boy right there. I did label the YouTube stream wrong. It's now been fixed. Today is the 15th.
Oh, there we go. That's early.
I'm a little bleary-eyed, and I did put the date on there wrong. But thanks. He said, keep kicking butt, eyes and ears. We're still on this. So thanks a lot, Mr. Castaway, for watching and help keep me in check there. Appreciate that.
Well, and listen, we're glad that people are watching. We're glad that people are hanging out and interacting with us at 877-794-1973, 915 or 951. Trying to hit the ball that's 6 inches below the zone, recipe for disaster. Yeah, the swing and miss on the chase is going to be a tough one. Yamamoto was spinning that thing last night, though. I mean, sitting incredible. The couple of times that I've gotten to sit super close at a baseball game, I struggle to figure out how you hit any Major League Baseball pitches. When he's doing what he was doing last night, wizardry. Very, very impressive stuff last night. However, Brewers got to find a way. 17 innings thrown by Dodger starters in these 2 games. They have gotten 1 run, and that's a solo shot from Jackson Chourio to start the game yesterday. Blake Snell gives up nothing in game 1. Brewers are heading out there down 2-0 for game number 3. But as Tom in Janesville said, pretty sure the crew came back from down 2-0 against the Angels. So let's do it against the LA Dodgers. Go Brew Crew. Still a lot of whole possibility, a lot of positivity trying to be found on this side of the program. We've talked a lot about Christian Yelich, his answers to the questions last night about the lack of offense for the Brewers and how they find some offense. Coming up next on The Game.
When you cry, who wipes your tears? When you scared, who's telling you there's nothing to fear? Girl, I'll always be there when you need the shoulder to lean on. Never hesitate, knowing you can call up.
97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
This update is brought to you by American Place Casino. Nonstop excitement just over the border in Lake County, Illinois. The Brewers are in a 2-0 hole in the NLCS after losing to the Dodgers 5-1 at American Family Field. Jackson Chourio homered in the first inning, and that was all for the Brewers offense. Freddie Peralta gave up 3 runs over 5 2/3. He gets the loss. Game 3 will be played at Dodger Stadium tomorrow afternoon, 5:08 p.m. first pitch. Jose Quintana on the mound for the Crew. They'll need to win 2 of 3 in L.A. to stay alive in the series. The Bucks wrapped up their preseason with a 116-112 loss to the Thunder. Giannis played. He had 16 points and 7 rebounds. Milwaukee off until they begin the regular season 1 week from tonight at Fiserv Forum. Speaking of Giannis, he told Greek TV he wants to end his playing career in his home country after he plays here until he's 36 or 38. In case you're wondering, he's 30 right now. That's sports. I'm Scott Dolphin on The Game.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's happening, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off in 1940. Alabama snaps Tennessee's defensive scoreless streak of 71 quarters, but still loses 21-12. Tennessee hadn't allowed a point since October 29, 1938, when it beat LSU 14-6. Jumping ahead, this week in 1977, Reggie Jackson hits 3 consecutive home runs, all on the first pitch to lead the New York Yankees to the World Series championship over the LA Dodgers in 6 games, solidifying him as Mr. October. This week in 1988, in one of the most dramatic moments in baseball history, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, an injured Kirk Gibson hits a dramatic 2-run home run to give the Dodgers a 5-4 win in the first game of the 85th World Series. This week in the year 2000, for the first time in NFL history, a game starts with back-to-back touchdown returns on kickoffs. Atlanta's Derek Vaughn returns the opening kickoff 96 yards for a touchdown, and St. Louis matches the Falcons immediately as Tony Horn takes the ball 3 yards deep in the end zone and runs down the sideline for a tying score. And this week in 2009, New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady had one of the best games of his career against the Titans, throwing 5 touchdown passes in the second quarter, an NFL record, in a 59-0 Patriots rout.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Pat Benatar songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Love is a Battlefield. Number 2, We Belong. Number 1, Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Why don't you hit me with your best shot? Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
Hear more from Pat Benatar and similar artists now. Search for Pat Benatar on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Aretha Franklin songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Number 2, Freeway of Love. Number 1, Respect. Hear more from Aretha Franklin and similar artists now. Search for Aretha Franklin on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you at 877-794-1973. That's where 414 texter said, good morning to the game. Missed introductions this morning. Hoping Andrew Ludwig is a planned day off. Yes. Scheduled day off for Andrew Ludwig. He'll be back tomorrow. Tim Allen will be in the chair for Armin coming up tomorrow as well.
And let me tell you, my man Andrew, I love you, but he scheduled the hell out of that day off.
Scheduled that day off. Let us know a number of times he had to take that day off. So
you're good, brother.
So Luddy is taking a scheduled day off here today. He will be back with us coming up tomorrow.
Went to Zafiro's.
I was going to say,
that's a spot.
Got a little pizza.
Yeah, that's a spot, man.
Hopefully a couple of cold ones as well, and that's maybe the only way to wash down the result last night. 5-1 final at American Family Field. So Christian Yelich is 0 for his last 17. He is hitless currently in this Dodger series. And he's the talk of the town when it comes to the lead man as to why the Brewers have found only 5 hits and 2 runs across the first 2 games of this NLCS. He spoke after the game last night, just where the offense has gone for the Crew.
Just where do you think this leaves you as a club going into LA? Obviously, you still see a path to winning this series. Where does it start?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to play better. It's not an ideal start to the series by any means. Like, it's not what you want to get off to, but just got to continue to battle and, find a way to get the offense going. I got to be better. We got to be better. Just facts, So fly out tonight, take the off day tomorrow, and be ready to battle game 3.
When you look at that offensively, you face 2 really good pitchers who seem to be on. What's your analysis of the at-bats, of the way the guys are swinging the bat?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt they're great pitchers, right? But we face great pitchers in the postseason. Like, that's just how it is. That's why it's the postseason and the LCS, and then you advance to the World Series. You face good teams, so you got to find a way to put together some quality at-bats, get some good swings off, which we did a couple times. Hit the balls hard at people, but we just didn't do it consistently enough to generate much offense. And they made pitches for sure, but you got to find a way to kind of get something going.
Yelly, when you see a first pitch home run by Jackson there, are you thinking good thoughts? Moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's a great way to start the night. But then he was able to kind of settle in, make a lot of good pitches, calm everything down, and obviously my complete game, so we weren't able to do a ton off from that.
He went pretty heavy on the splitter against you guys.
Yeah.
There was a lot of chasing against that pitch. Just from your perspective in the box and just throwing that pitch well, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it was moving late. He did a good job of like setting it up a lot, setting up those pitches. It's good sequencing, and he just made it tough on us. Keeping everybody off balance, and he's doing a really good job of like landing it at the bottom, and going just below that. And same with the breaking balls. He's phenomenal.
He threw 4 consecutive splitter, I guess, in the first inning.
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised by the approach?
I don't know about. I know he throws it. It's a good pitch, so. Can't say that you're surprised. I just did a good job of executing. He kind of just kept going lower and lower with it. But yeah, I mean, he kind of approached each at bat different. It wasn't really kind of the same attack plan every time. So, he's a great pitcher for a reason, and credit to him.
Your at bats in this postseason, where do you feel like you're at?
Not the best, I started out good and then kind of just hit a little bit of a rough patch here the last few games. An unfortunate time for that to happen, but I've got to be better. I got to figure it out, and it's just how it goes.
When you're in those spots, how do you figure it out? When you're in the midst of these games where every at bat is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of time, so you got to do it quickly. Just keep battling, keep going out there, keep trying to make adjustments, work on stuff on the off days before the game, and I'm just looking for that one where it kind of clicks and you can just get a few guys going and make a series of it.
Got to try to make a series of it. Christian Yelich saying all the right things. You can definitely tell the positivity is not going to fully leave that part of the clubhouse, but they're looking for as many answers as we are, Armin.
Yeah, definitely frustrated. Definitely not much else to say except they got to be better. He knows it, and hopefully they can find a way. Running out of chances here, Billy. It starts tomorrow.
Running out of chances, running out of time. Brewers go out there for game 3 starting up tomorrow afternoon. We're into hour 3 right after this. It's No BS on the Game.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's happening, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off in 1914. Babe Ruth makes his MLB debut, pitching a 4-3 Boston Red Sox win over the Cleveland Naps at Fenway Park. This week in 1934, Carl Hubble strikes out Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin in succession. But the American League comes back to win the All-Star Game 9-7 at the Polo Grounds. Staying in baseball, this week in 1955, St. Louis's Stan Musial hit Frank Sullivan's first pitch of the 12th inning for a home run to give the National League All-Star team a 6-5 victory over the American League at Milwaukee's County Stadium. The American League had led 5-0 after 6 innings. This week in 1972, Robert Irsay buys the stock of the LA Rams for $19 million and swaps the franchise for the Baltimore Colts. The players and coaches are not affected. This week in 1999, Team USA wins the Women's World Cup over China in sudden death. The Americans win 5-4 in penalty kicks, with defender Brandy Chastain kicking the game winner. Play ball! And this week in 2010, Brian McCann's 3-run double in the 7th inning provided the National League all the offense it needed to capture its first Midsummer Classic since 1996 with a 3-1 victory.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1967.
Try to set the night on fire.
In January of 1967, Los Angeles band The Doors released their debut album, which eventually goes to number 2, and features the single Light My Fire, which goes to number 1 in July. The Rolling Stones released Ruby Tuesday, an ode to a groupie written by Keith Richards. The song takes them to number 1 in the U.S. in March. And San Francisco band The Jefferson Airplane released the surrealistic Pillow album, scoring 2 top 10 hits with White Rabbit and Somebody to Love.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Would you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
In March of 67, Buffalo Springfield re-releases their debut album to include the hit single For What It's Worth. In April of 67, Give Me Some Lovin' by the Spencer Davis Group goes to number 7 in the U.S., with vocals by 17-year-old Steve Winwood. And in May, Elvis Presley marries his 21-year-old girlfriend Priscilla in Las Vegas. In May, Mitch Ryder hits number 4 with Devil with a Blue Dress, Good Golly Miss Molly. And the Jimi Hendrix Experience released their debut in the UK. In July, they toured the U.S. as the opening act for the Monkees in support of the U.S. album release.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1967, coming up.
And now a look back at This Week in History on iHeartRadio.
This week in 1931, we lost one of the greatest inventors of our time, Thomas Edison, at age 84. His inventions, which include the phonograph, the motion picture camera, and early versions of the electric light bulb, had a widespread impact on the modern industrialized world. This week in 1947, U.S. Air Force Captain Chuck Yeager becomes the first person to fly faster than the speed of sound. Because of the secrecy of the project, Yeager's achievement was not announced until June of 1948. This week in 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis begins, bringing the U.S. and the Soviet Union to the brink of nuclear conflict. Photographs taken by a high-altitude U-2 spy plane offered proof that Soviet-made medium-range missiles in Cuba were now stationed 90 miles off the American coastline. During the next 2 weeks, the United States and the Soviet Union would come as close to nuclear war as they ever had. And this week in 2007, comedian and actor Drew Carey takes over hosting duties on The Price is Right, as his first episode airs on the longest-running daytime game show in television history. Carey replaced Bob Barker, who retired at the age of 83 after hosting the show for 35 years.
And that's what happened. Thanks for listening to This Week in History on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rick Springfield to get some insight on his latest release, Rocket Science.
It's a guitar-based record for sure, and I love big hooks, and not a country record at all. It's a rock and roll record, but it does have some country elements.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from Rick Springfield and all your favorite artists.
We call it Wagertainment.
All right, place your bets,
VSiN, every night at 6. Presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest on Fox Sports 920.
I'm Jason Flom, founding board member of the Innocence Project, and my new podcast is Wrongful Conviction,
available on iHeartRadio. On Wrongful Conviction, I interview a different exoneree every week and help them to tell their incredible stories of tragedy and triumph against impossible odds. You've got to hear it to believe it. Wrongful Conviction from iHeart Studios, available now on iHeartRadio.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game.
I'm going down, baby. Go street in the rain. Come on. Boom, baby. Ready to let it go. Shit, go up. Listen to it loud. Light it up and take a bug.
Welcome back to the game. Billy and Sarian with you statewide. 877-794-1973.
Okay, good, better.
Oh, we're doing okay.
Midwest? No, I'm talking about the bump.
Oh, this is much better.
Much better?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, even though it's a St. Louis one, even though it's a
Midwest.
Cardinal fan, that's fine. Much better than
Listen,
LA.
I
Yeah.
only got so much Cuckoo Cal to play. All right, if you want Milwaukee, I got to do as much as I can of Cuckoo Cal.
There's not a ton of options
We
there.
got my projects, and that's it. If you're out there and you want to hear it, I'm going to try and play as much as I can, but we're doing Midwest, okay? No
I
more
love that.
No more California
I
artists.
like having a little bit of Midwest feel into the broadcast. My partner on Badger Postgame, Lance Allen of CBS 58 here in Milwaukee, put together a one-on-one interview with Brian Anderson, one of the best play-by-play guys around, calling the NLCS. It can be easy for BA, and I feel like I've heard it a couple of different times. He's got some Brewers colors flowing and blood flowing through his veins right now.
And a lot of it is just the natural institutional knowledge he has about this team.
Yep,
Talking
that's
about
true.
what they've done all year, how they play, how they approach. Pat Murphy anecdotes. It's not that, he does a great job. I mean, BA is one of the most professional broadcasters in the world, one of the best broadcasters in the world, and he does a great job at these broadcasts, and he knows what his job is on the TBS broadcast. But you can't help to have a little bit of affinity for a team that you covered well and enjoyed covering all year and know a lot about. And that's just the reality of it. And your job as a broadcaster is to drop knowledge. And if you have a lot of knowledge already about a team because you've been around them all the time, what are you supposed to do? It's like if you put a history teacher on a broadcast and all of a sudden he's got a broadcast about, the Civil War, and he teaches the Civil War, he's going to give you new information about it.
Mhm.
BA has a lot of information about the Brewers, and there's a little glint in his eye when the Brewers have something started a little bit. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
twinkle in his eye.
and for Brian Anderson, I wonder if it would be easier or probably harder to not have more of that soak in to the broadcast and seep through if indeed he was like a couple of years ago when he was still calling 100 games, right? Like
absolutely.
Jeff Levering's going to join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. I think BA called 52 games or something like that, 55 games this year. Jeff has called 145 of them, right? So Brian Anderson, Holmes asking us who BA is. Brian Anderson would be the answer there.
Brian Anderson.
He is he's so multifaceted. He does so many different games, but obviously still being around it for as much as he is and knowing what this 2025 year has felt like and been like for the Milwaukee Brewers baseball club, I assume that there's even more fondness for the moment. And I think that's also it. Some people, the story and all of the storylines around the 2025 Brewers might get lost on somebody in a broadcast team that doesn't have, like you said, a lot of the institutional knowledge, the firsthand understanding and being around it so long that maybe they wouldn't think of an opportunity to drop in a Bob Uecker statement in there or just a little bit of an anecdote in a story, because there's a little bit more to it sometimes.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Billy, I think he obviously wants a good series. And right now,
That's exactly it,
The
yes.
Brewers have generally been the team that's been behind, so he wants a good series. He wants something close, so it's a national broadcaster's job as well to try and get the team that's down, try and paint different, procedures for the listeners and the viewers on ways this could be a game again, ways they could come back. I mean, my dad was complaining about it during the Brewers Cubs series. Armin, what's going on? The Brewers are up 8 runs and they're all talking about different ways the Cubs can come back. Well, that's kind of what you got to do. And
Well, they're hoping people will stick around and watch a little longer.
People stick and want to watch. They want to do that. Holmes says I'm a football guy. Sorry. Yeah. BA, we're referring to Brian Anderson, the great broadcaster. So, I get it. It is what it is. He's been a guy that's been around the Brewers, and we're lucky to have him for that long. But I think he also wants people to stick around and watch the series. I think he's kind of probably trying to hope for a little bit more of an
Well, you try to
expected-
speak a little bit of it into in existence, yes. Like you're definitely trying to speak into existence some success for the road team now for the Brewers because you desperately need something to go right. I do like Holmes mentioned, why are we discussing the announcers? Well, it's because the first two games haven't provided a whole lot to us to talk about positively about the crew. And he is also in a spotlight here where this is a rare opportunity where you get to call a postseason series for the team that you call most games for, right? Like Mike Breen got into it this year when the Knicks were calling, when he was calling the conference finals for the Knicks. And I kind of like knowing that little bit of a storyline and that little piece of what they're going through on the call that we're hearing. And also just wanting to find some point where the Brewers can break through. You're looking through it last night of like some points of stress for Yamamoto.
Sure.
There really wasn't, Armin. And as much as a solo shot is a hell of a boost and a great way to start, it almost is the easiest way to just wipe the slate clean. Similarly to Miz in Game 5 against Suzuki, put it in right down the pipe. He hits it into the bullpen. All right, sweet. Now let's go on and roll.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for much more than that start-wise, but you're right. It wasn't like it was high-leverage, laborious innings, right? Now, the one time that he kind of had one was, I think it was the fourth, or maybe it was the third, and Timmy was talking about it, is when the Brewers did have the leadoff runner on. They did force the bad throw, but unfortunately couldn't get anything going after that. And I think that's the point where you start looking at, do you hit and run? Do you try and steal? Do you try and look for other avenues to try and generate some offense? And it just didn't work. And you have to get these Dodger pitchers now, Billy, in higher stress, higher leverage situations where they're going to have to work more. They have to work more to get their pitch count up, work more to get outs. And that's the goal and the challenge right now for the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's been a tough one so far. And it definitely has to start in Game 3. We got a text from 920 unnamed on the NickLayLaw.com talking text line, 877-794-1973. By the way, I'd like to remind everybody, in our new situation here, you can still call the text line, or to call or obviously text the talking text line. We're right here to take
same
your calls.
number, 877-794-1973.
Same exact number, as well as get us on the socials here, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. 920's text, can Ortiz go up to the plate without a bat and hope for a walk or get hit? You could do that. I don't know about the strategy, but you could do it. Now, if that's funny jokes. In seriousness,
might work though.
Be serious. The serious part of that is, if you're Joey Ortiz, that's got to be number one in your mind right now. Okay, how can I take as many pitches? You know, we talked about Brandon Lockridge a lot when he got the surprise start against the Cubs. I didn't love the idea, but he did have an 11 pitch at bat in that game, which I think helps. It makes a difference. You know, those things don't show up in the box score necessarily, but if you can let your lineup see a bunch of pitches, especially your guy on deck, if you're the number 9 hitter, if you can get this guy to have to show that, to stress him out, to obviously run the pitch count up, to give yourself a chance in the at bat, to maybe take a walk. That's what the Brewers have to do right now. That's got to be the mentality.
Hell, if you can see Mark Pryor, right? The Dodger pitching coach.
Yeah.
You just want to force a couple of meetings at the mound.
Give Dave Roberts maybe a tougher thought process and decision making than how do I get this next bag of sunflower seeds open? My man was just
chowing down
and throwing them in his mouth. You don't have, just throwing them in his mouth, trying to get
Isn't
it.
that how you eat popcorn too?
Yeah, maybe popcorn because they're bigger kernels. I get it.
Toss it in, see if it happens. You drop a couple.
I'm pouring it out of the bag. That's how I'm going right there, Billy.
That video and that still shot on the YouTube page that needs to get clipped.
Well, that's all you can do. That's why you're watching the YouTube. You would have missed it if you didn't see that.
Holmes said they're 6-0 against the Dodgers in the regular season. Correct? Yes, they were, and that's where the very, very much maybe a correction to the mean could be coming here. They did not face a lot of these guys in the regular season, and Yamamoto was one that they did, and one that they tagged for his shortest start in his career.
July 7th.
Didn't get out of the first inning.
Yeah.
It was Andrew Vaughn's emergence and welcome to the scene as he hits a 3-run shot in his first start off Yamamoto. He got his lick back last night, right? Like, I mean, he came in here knowing what happened. Yoshi got his lick back last night.
Let's go.
Yoshi Yamamoto came in here and delivered a bludgeoning on 111 pitches.
We love that reference. But yeah, he did, unfortunately. And you kind of say to yourself, boy, I kind of wish, we would have had that July 7th moment now when in the playoffs.
I would have much rather preferred that.
But you can't have it that way. And it is instructive. He's right about the 6-0 against the Dodgers, but it is instructive to go back and look. He beat the skeletal remains of Clayton Kershaw twice. You know, there was a lot of the guys that are playing right now and pitching right now for the Dodgers that just weren't on the roster for those games and for a lot of the year for the Dodgers. You know, the Dodgers were 500 or a tick below most of the second half, Billy. They just weren't doing their thing. They weren't on some sort of crazy streak. They didn't have a great.
Hanging out in cruise control.
They had kind of lost their. I mean, they were in trouble winning the West for a while. Obviously, didn't get the first round bye, but it didn't seem to matter for them in that situation because they knew they had the horses coming back. So now you're seeing a different Dodgers team. Now you're seeing why Potawatomi Sportsbook had them as a minus 220, 250 favorite going into the series, even though the Brewers were 6-0 against them this year.
And again, maybe a loser mentality, loser mindset. Also, you're not the only team that they've done this to, right? I mean, they just did last week the exact same thing to Philadelphia, which is arguably the best home environment in the sport. Citizens Bank Park for a playoff series is an absolute madhouse, and the Dodgers went in there and won both. Now, Philadelphia went in, won game 3, nearly won game 4 if it's not for a reliever throwing the ball to the backstop in a decisive moment where they could have gotten out of the 11th inning. They had an all-time classic there in game 4. So again, this is the script the Dodgers have now written a couple of times, and you try to go and play the same way. Maybe we don't have a guy like Kyle Schwarber that can hit the ball out of the actual stadium like he did in game 3 of their division series. I don't know. Maybe that could be Bryce Terang. Maybe that could be Christian Yelich. It'd be nice if that was the situation. Maybe that would be a hell of a way to get his bat kick started. But they do this to teams, and they just did it to Philadelphia a week ago. Now you got to be able to respond and pick yourself up off the mat. All right, let's go around the NFL on the other side. We got some news and some returns to practice, a couple in the division that are pretty noteworthy. And we have a bowl game coming up tomorrow night, coined the Icy Hot Bowl.
Yeah, see, I like that. I like when we can do these type of things. I'm interested to see. There's more. It seems to be, Billy, there's more and more college football during the week than I remember. And maybe I knew about the Wednesday Night Mac stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just me, or is there games now every night? Everyone's trying to get on TV, right?
Well, just wait till you hear about the Icy Hot Bowl and what that actually gets into. That's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt. It's no BS on the game.
Driving some of the hottest cars New Yorkers ever seen. For dropping some of the
lay you down, baby. Hey, with your baby mama at the crib and blow her back out. Shorty Filipino.
Now Armin Sarian's understanding the assignment. Find a couple of Midwest bangers to be able to rock. A little Young Gravy. This is your guy right here.
Young Gravy was a Badger, I believe. UW guy.
Yes,
He went to
UW cat.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about that? UW guy started doing his unique brand of style, and next thing you know, he's selling like packing Summerfest for 2 nights. He filled in the night they had the cancellation at the amphitheater, and they gave him the second concert because he had so many people at the first one on whatever stage it was that Laura and I tried to slam into. There were more 16-year-olds there than a homecoming dance. Let me tell you,
Probably were. Yep.
Or a TikTok convention. It was pretty impressive that the fan base this guy has grown. Only by throwing out Lunchables and Capri Suns. So his ironic brand of music has worked. Yeah, Young Gravy. Speaking of Billy, you know I love dips.
I know you love dips.
I'm a big fan of dips, and I want to tell you about my new obsession.
In the kitchen, living room, or garage.
Yeah, anywhere. Garage, living room, backyard, I don't care. My new obsession is Daisy French onion dip. You know about Daisy sour creams, of course. They got dips, Billy. You know, you're watching games football season, dips with chips, wings, veggies while watching the big game. Now Daisy came out with a delicious Daisy French onion dip and a Daisy Ranch dip, and these are game changers. Delicious is a homemade dip you're going to make at home with real herbs and spices, other ingredients you find in your own kitchen. So go out to your local grocery store near you and check out Daisy French onion dip. Look for it anywhere at the grocery store, anywhere dips are sold, and give Daisy French onion dip a try, Billy. No better way to sit back and watch some more games in the NLCS, the baseball playoffs, and of course a little college and NFL coming up this weekend. Then with some Daisy French onion dip. I know there's a lot of good games to watch.
Some French onion dip would be a nice way to watch the Icy Hot Bowl coming up tomorrow night. The two quarterbacks talking about it coming up tomorrow night. The matchup, the Steelers and Bengals on Thursday Night Football, quickly becoming known as the Icy Hot Bowl between Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. Rodgers said yesterday when he stepped up to the Pittsburgh microphones, I think it's great for all the old guys. I know that when I watch other sports, maybe it's just because I'm an older guy, but I tend to pull for the old guys to win championships. I've known Joe for a long time. He's been great coming to my charity event. He's been a great ambassador for the league. He's had a great career, and it's fun that we are both still playing. Tom Brady and Drew Brees are the only previous pair of 40-year-old quarterbacks to start opposite each other, doing it 3 times in 2020. Including most famously the playoff matchup between the two down in New Orleans that then sent Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers up to Green Bay for the NFC title game. We thought that the Packers were going to be taking on the Saints. That was definitely the thought going into that year. And then Drew Brees looked as cooked as a well-done steak in that game.
Yeah, that's true, Billy. And I think Tom Brady's kind of had the market cornered on old guy success for a while. And I think maybe Aaron Rodgers has something to say about that now. But old guys for a while were like the new thing because of the success Brady had. So everybody's like trying to emulate it and say that their quarterback should be Brady and play till he's 45 and plan to play. And everyone was doing the Brady diet. And you know how things that, success is enviable by many. So everyone's trying to copycat that. So I don't know what it is. The no strawberries, 37 bottles of water a day, whatever Brady did.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to emulate that. And it seems like old guys were the thing. So it's pretty cool to have a Geezer Bowl as Holmes is telling us, a Geezer Bowl, not to be confused with Geezer Palooza that's happening in 9 years. But yeah, it is pretty, it reminds me, it's like the reincarnation of that meme that you saw in Last Dance, where Larry Bird and Jordan saw each other in the tunnel after that playoff game and just kind of smiled at each other, said a couple choice words
to each other,
and slapped each other and said, "See ya." Maybe that's going to be the situation, but yeah, it is pretty cool for Aaron, I'm sure, and Joe to still say, "Hey, I have a contemporary in this game." He still remembers the way it used to be. He still remembers what it was like. Hey, both Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. They've both been to the pinnacle, obviously, Billy. So one of, I think, many pretty interesting games this weekend. And then the Steelers are an interesting outfit in general. I mean, a lot of
very
people
interesting right now.
Questioning what they were doing this year was getting Rodgers. Is this a serious move? Is it just a flash? Is it going to work out? Is this a Hail Mary, no pun intended, to try and bring this guy in? But they've won some games this year, and they're in a good spot to get a playoff berth.
They also are in the most battered and bruised division of all time, with Lamar Jackson down with a hamstring injury for a couple of games. Joe Burrow obviously lost early in the year with the turf toe. The Steelers come in 4-1, and don't look now, they're the 2 seed in the AFC, right behind everybody's preseason favorite, the Indianapolis Colts. So, I mean, like, you can look at how strange the first 6 weeks of the NFL season have been by the AFC playoffs rankings. I don't know anybody had this 4-teamer for the division leaders at this point during the 1/3 poll, Armin. Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, the Chargers, and the 4th seed in AFC East division leaders right now, the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and they've been incredible. And Drake May's been incredible. Your guy, and you called it early, Billy.
Baller.
You really saw some stuff you liked of him when I think a lot of people were counting him out. Ryan Pohl's not one to be excluded.
Didn't even want to have a conversation.
Didn't want to have a conversation. Wanted to make fun of anyone that was looking at him. And there was a thought for a while that he was not looking good. Remember what Gerard Mayo, right, was the coach, wasn't he? And he's saying we were having a lot of problems. It doesn't look like he's very good. Or there were these reports coming from camp that he's way, way, way behind, and that they may have a longer road than they thought with Drake May. But he's come out, Billy, and played great. So definitely a storyline to be had there, and one you were on early about his talent.
He's a dog, dude. Absolute stud. And right now he's playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL in just his second season on the case. Did like this one from Rourke at 867-794-1973. He goes, hey guys, hoping for a big Packers win this week. They should really capitalize on this Flacco-Rodgers game one final time in the Yunk Bowl. All fans wear elastic waistbands and then they give away black licorice or peanuts when you walk in. Werther's Original.
Werther's, I think it's a huge opportunity here for those Skechers slip-ons ads.
Yes.
Maybe some
could be a New Balance opportunity.
New Balance 608 to the Nike Air Monarchs, of which I saw 2 real G's, by the way, at the YMCA. Going for we went to baby swim class last week for Lena.
That's what I'm talking about.
Just going one-on-one. 2 guys, probably at this age or more, in the Nike Air Monarchs, just sweating with the sleeveless Cayman Islands cutoff t-shirt.
That's a beautiful thing.
Those type of things. You got to respect those type of guys. And there are definitely, Billy, some marketing opportunities here to embrace the geezers, embrace the olds.
Yeah, we want more of that.
The OGs, the experienced ones, as we say, that have been there before. So that would be pretty good. You should wear Depends the Ballpark, says Holmes. I mean, I don't know if I'm going that far, Billy, but hey, if you want to go
just
ahead,
in case.
If you want to wear adult diapers, it's on you. All bets are off right now, so whatever.
Hey, if they're paying,
it's good, right?
There could be a lot worse things that you could be doing. Holmes said, Packers fear no team. Currently, they can beat anyone, including themselves. And right now, that's very much true. And I bring up the AFC playoff picture, not to, just run through whatever you possibly can look at, but I think to emphasize, Armin, like, we made a number of different points on Monday after a Packers OT on Sunday that at Lambeau Field I thought was a lot more downtrodden for a team that is, granted, 3-1-1. You'd like there to be a 5-0 in that realm. Not now, you definitely could have, because you've had double-digit leads in all 5 of these games. But man, you just look around the NFL right now, and a lot of good teams, a lot of teams that you anticipated would be there right at the end are leaving a lot to be desired. And then there's other teams like the 49ers who sure are coming in at 4-2, but that feels like a hell of a lot different with Brock Purdy down, a hobbled Mac Jones, and now Fred Warner and Nick Bosa both out for the year.
Yeah, Fred Warner, who, Sydney Hightower, I'm sorry to hear about Fred's injury. Sydney Hightower, his wife, who was on Bachelor season 24, I want to say.
Wow.
Pilot Pete season.
Holy cow, I did not know that. I was unfamiliar with his game.
That I'm pretty sure you're not that worried about. But there's a little tidbit for you. And, Billy, it's been that type of year in the NFL. It's been a topsy-turvy year. Things you think you know and you don't know. Teams you think should be good or not. Teams you think should win consistently, they don't. Hello, Philadelphia Eagles, who are only a 2-point favorite, I believe, against the Vikings this weekend. There's just been so much unknown in the NFL, and it's got all the, that's why it's so exciting, right? It's got all the parity, all the unknown, all the intensity, game after game, week after week, that a lot of leagues yearn for and don't have, and the NFL has it, and therefore, and you're seeing it right now. So I think that's another reason to make it local by Packer fans. There's a term, enjoy every sandwich. You just got to make sure you're enjoying every win your team gets, and your team is still 3-1-1 in position to get a playoff spot. And with the unknowns you have week to week in this league, I think you got to be happy about that, and you got to be okay with that, knowing that, you know, maybe my team doesn't play great every week, but a win is better than a loss, and all you're trying to do is get to that part of the season where you're in the tournament, where you're in the playoffs, where you have a chance to go make a run if you get your stuff right. And we're seeing it across the league, Billy, that so many teams that think they can bank on wins can't, that we think are the also-rans are not, and are competitive, and that are fighting for their season and their lives.
Sorry, I'm reading a People article on the Warners right now.
Yeah.
So now, did Sydney, was she cause for any controversy during that season? Would that be the one that I would remember?
I think she was villain free. I think she was kind of controversy and villain free.
That would have been the season that that the young man took the young lady to the amusement park, and they were being serenaded by a country singer that she had a previous rendezvous with.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That was the same year?
Yeah, I believe so. Although these seasons run together to me, Billy, because they're all kind of.
You still watching that show?
Well, my wife does. Laura does, especially the Golden Bachelor.
Oh, okay, so that has taken off more than some had anticipated.
It has, but we got to pump the brakes on Golden Bachelor a bit because they're not really golden. I want to see old people.
55 doesn't feel golden to me.
It should be midlife crisis Bachelor, not Golden Bachelor, because that's what it seems to be. I think when we liked the original Golden Bachelor because it really seemed like really more,
empty nester Bachelor is what you're saying. It's becoming more
heartwarming, wholesome, organic love. I need it. Even they're trying to become influencers, and it's ridiculous, Billy.
Yeah, 100%. They're trying to get onto grandma talk.
We want to see like honest, wholesome, organic like feelings and transparent and vulnerability and authentic. I don't want to see like, I got a skincare brand and I'm trying to get famous and I'm one of them this year is Freddie Freeman's aunt. Freddie Freeman's aunt. Her job was Freeman Family Manager. That's her job. Wow. She's the Freddie Freeman's family manager and she's on there. There's a couple of funny characters and the guy is a former NFL player. I'm forgetting his name now. Doesn't have much of a personality of a shoe. I'm sorry. This is the reality. They're not bad people, but my thing is like, I don't think this is the Golden Bachelor we thought we'd see. So sorry for the rant and the aside, but that's just my take on it. I want to see like 80-year-olds getting together.
I was going to say, you want to see it straight out of a nursing home is what it sounds like.
Let's get together and play checkers. Let's talk about the hard things we've been through in life.
Do some crossword puzzles.
Something to make you happy.
Hard things we've seen in our life.
Well, I've been through it, or whatever. Usually these are unfortunate widows, widowers, divorce, things like that. They've been through it. It's Bachelor. Everyone's got a sob story. It's just the way it is. This isn't an attack on the midlife guys, the olds. This is me.
I do like that we're getting people to say, "Hey, I'm 57. I can attest to this."
Represent. That's totally fine.
So, Sydney, the former Bachelor contestant, People writes, didn't receive the final rose, but her appearance on the ABC dating show led the linebacker sliding in her DMs. She said on her podcast, "quote This sounds so silly, but in Alabama, it's strictly SEC college football." So she didn't really know who Fred Warner was.
Well, we do know that that's the case, though.
Admitted that she had never heard of Fred before he made the first move in 2020. The couple soon got to know each other before getting engaged the following year, married in 2022. March of 2024, they announced that they're welcoming their first child, Bo Anthony, and just recently announced that they are expecting their second child.
Well, listen, that's great. And
congratulations. He's got a lot more time on his hands now that he's got that dislocated and
unfortunately
fractured ankle.
A heartwarming story for sure, Billy. She's like, I didn't even know him. Okay. I mean, I sort of believe that. I'm sure when you looked him up, you were interested when you started to get to know him. So
I would guess so,
that's good too. There's nothing wrong with that.
Wow, I did not realize this. Sydney grew up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where she attended school with another Bachelor alum. She and season 23 contestant and eventual Bachelorette, your girl Hannah Brown. Graduated from Tuscaloosa County High School in 2013. Both went on to enroll at the University of Alabama, and both then ended up on The Bachelor.
Well, you're a small town.
Now, how does that work on like the Alabama notable alumni?
I think up there.
It's got to be in the conversation, right? Like outside of 84 different NFL players.
Well, I was going to say, if you're talking about sports, though, there's a lot of famous people from Alabama. So I think that you're up there, but I don't know that I think she was Miss Alabama for a while too, Hannah Brown. But when you go to a county high school, Billy, you're a small town kid, right?
Tuscaloosa County.
And now that kind of surprised me because Tuscaloosa is a big city.
I don't know. It's a big metropolis.
No, it's a college town, but they don't have enough for two. I mean, hell, Greenfield's got enough for two high schools.
That's fair.
You would think that maybe, I don't know. I mean, because, like Fred Favre went to Hancock County High School, or like, I remember I have a buddy that grew up where Greg Gard's from, Iowa Grant. Iowa Grant is 2 counties. That's a 2-county high school. So you kind of think that. But yeah, there you go.
I'm reading and enjoying way too much of this story.
No, I like
she
that.
continued to say that he was single and had just lost the Super Bowl.
He was down
So
bad.
he was feeling
Sliding
down,
DMs.
Cindy explained, referencing the 49ers loss to the Chiefs in the 2020 Super Bowl. He was hanging out at his house and not leaving the room much. He would just watch shows, and we didn't watch much of The Bachelor, but his family did. She continued that his brother's wife FaceTimed him and told him that there was a girl on The Bachelor that was his type and his vibe. He thought she was being ridiculous, but he reached out. He waited until she was sent home. And then around 2 weeks later, he found me on Instagram and shot his shot.
Smart. That's smart. Wait till she was sent home. Probably a smart move. Last thing you want to do is like try.
I like that. He's like, I'm just not going to take any risk. It doesn't look like it's going well, but
no, we don't know if you get the rose or not. But as soon as she didn't get that rose, and of course it's taped, so she's already home. As soon as you get that rose, he's in the DMs. Where's Luddy when I need some sliding in the DMs talk?
Yeah, that's fair. We do need some coaching in this round. The 2 married guys on the show probably wouldn't know much about that.
I'll say this:
I did that like 8-9 years ago when
me
my
too.
wife got into it.
There's no shame in it anymore. That's how most people meet, and that's the reality of it. Once upon a time, Billy, online dating was kind of seen as weird and taboo until everybody started dating online, and it was just like, and that changed with my generation. Sort of where it was like, no, that's just the way people do things now. Sliding into DMs, a very careful, curated, orchestrated, dangerous process. So I'm glad I'm out of that now. But yeah, I mean, that's how he did it, and it worked out. So that's pretty good. It was good to see that, for the 2 of them. So.
You'd like to see a little bit of love. Jake and Waukesha said, glad you guys are on the air. Good to hear you fellas. But Armin, what personality does a shoe have?
Exactly. They don't. I mean, they really don't have
Be a
much
0.
I don't know why I came up with that. It was either shoe or sandwich.
But you were rolling. I like shoe better than sandwich because, listen, some sandwiches, you put a little spice on there, they can have a little personality.
Oh, absolutely.
877-794-1973. We will get into a little bit more Packer conversation, as well as, because Packers get ready to take on the 2-4 Arizona Cardinals. You want to talk about a mixed bag and a team that not a whole lot of people know a whole lot about. We'll get into that, as well as our friend Hunter Baumgart. He was at the game last night. He joins us coming up at 9 o'clock to recap what we witnessed. We'll hit a parlay of the day in about 10 minutes from right now at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's no BS on the game.
Another day at the pick up on the mail. If a channel riding through the streets, they be like, they go. You don't want no problem with me. You don't want no problem with me.
97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
This update is brought to you by American Place Casino. Nonstop excitement just over the border in Lake County, Illinois. The Brewers are in a 2-games-to-none hole in the NLCS after losing to the Dodgers 5-1 at American Family Field. Jackson Chourio homered in the first inning, and that was all for the Brewers offense. Freddie Peralta gave up 3 runs over 5 2/3. He gets the loss. Game 3 will be played at Dodger Stadium tomorrow afternoon, 5:08 p.m. first pitch. Jose Quintana on the mound for the Crew. They'll need to win 2 of 3 in L.A. to stay alive in the series. The Bucks wrapped up their preseason with a 116-112 loss to the Thunder. Giannis played. He had 16 points and 7 rebounds. Milwaukee off until they begin the regular season 1 week from tonight at Fiserv Forum. Speaking of Giannis, he told Greek TV he wants to end his playing career in his home country after he plays here until he's 36 or 38. In case you're wondering, he's 30 right now. That's sports. I'm Scott Dolphin on The Game.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's shaking, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off back in 1923. The New York Yankees win their first World Series, beating the New York Giants 4-2. To date, the Yankees have won the World Series 27 times. The next closest team is the St. Louis Cardinals with 11. This week in 1967, Major League Baseball's American League votes to allow the athletics team to move from Kansas City to Oakland and expand the league to 12 teams in 1971, with teams in Kansas City and Seattle. This week in 1981, LA's Rick Monday hits a ninth-inning home run to give the Dodgers a 2-1 victory over the Montreal Expos and the National League pennant. This week in 1983, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs combined for the fastest 5 goals in NHL history, 84 seconds. This week in 2014, DeMarco Murray becomes the first running back in NFL history to start a season with 7 straight 100-yard games in a 31-21 win over the New York Giants. Murray, with 128 yards and a touchdown, breaks Hall of Famer Jim Brown's 56-year-old record. And this week in 2015, Jalen Watts Jackson scoops up a flubbed punt attempt and lumbers 38 yards for a touchdown on the final play of the game, giving number 7 Michigan State a shocking 27-23 win over number 12 Michigan at the Big House.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Here are the top Michael Jackson songs you've thumbed up. Number 3, The Way You Make Me Feel. Number 2, Beat It. Number 1, Billie Jean. Hear more from Michael Jackson and similar artists now. Search for Michael Jackson on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
iHeartRadio.
Here are the top Foreigner songs that you've thumbed up.
Number 3,
Hot Blooded.
I show you loving like you never knew. That's why I'm hot-blooded. Check it and see. Feel the fever burning inside of me. Come on, baby, do you do more than dance?
Number 2,
I Want to Know What Love Is.
Change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me.
Number 1,
Cold as Ice.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love.
Hear more from Foreigner and similar artists now.
search for Foreigner on iHeartRadio.
All your favorite music,
All your favorite stations.
all free.
Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up!
When I move, you move.
Just like that.
When I move, you move.
Just like that.
No BS on the game. Billy Ansarian hanging out with you. Speaking of Bachelor contestants, Armin Sarian.
Yeah, Billy.
The Four Letter Network interviewing Jordan Rogers right now, new SEC college football analyst for the mothership.
Yeah, Jordan.
Why don't they put him on there as a Bachelorette winner?
You know what? That's a great
Right, because he
question.
won.
Well, he won JoJo's season, and they're together still. They
Yeah,
went through it, but
they're one of the
together.
few couples that actually
Right.
have stayed together through the entire thing.
By the way, JoJo Fletcher, by the way, was one of my favorite bachelorettes. Her and
Pretty
Andy
solid.
Dorfman. I mean, she's a real one, no doubt. She's bad. Now, yeah, they should put him on there. Now, does he want to be known for that? I don't really know.
I mean, it's either that or offensive co-captain for the Vanderbilt Commodores in 2012.
And really, let's be honest, the guy that
Probably what he's more known for
Might
is
have-
being on The Bachelorette.
might have started the ball rolling downhill with the Aaron Rodgers relationship thing. Like, that might have started everything when he was on that show and had the empty seat and all. Aaron didn't like that. He talked about it.
That did definitely seem to be the start of the real conversation, because that was when we started to find out about the fracture with his family relationship at that point. That was really the first time we heard about any of that with his parents.
And we haven't heard any new. I mean, that was a big storyline and a huge topic of consternation and conversation for Packers fans for a long time. That when the tide started to turn, it seemed like on the Aaron Rodgers opinions, they could not get over the fact that he wouldn't talk to his parents and he sent the Christmas gifts back. And now there was confirmation him and his dad saw each other at the golf tournament, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yep.
So I don't know any more updates on that, but I don't know if him and Jordan are going to have the relationship or not. You know, you go through the book that came out last year about it. It was very interesting and stuff like that to hear about it. But that's it seemed to be the start of it with Jordan Rodgers. So I don't know if they're going to make that part of his headlines, his like resume. Basically.
It is interesting though. You go to a place like Pittsburgh, you win some games. Quickly, that conversation is toned down, right? Instead, it's Aaron can actually still play a little bit, and it's definitely helping out. No doubt about it. 877-794-1973. That's where Menominee Falls Steve hits us up. Hey,
Steve?
Billy and the furry one.
I'll take it.
Hey, could be worse.
I'll take it.
Been called worse.
Refer to my body hair. Yep. All right.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay. Now that the Dodgers are all healthy, this pitching lineup can do the same thing to any team in Major League Baseball right now. So I'm not sure why people think the Brewers should just magically start hitting. The only hope is that Glasnow and Ohtani are just a little off, and we take advantage. And of that, we get 5 or 6 hits, and then the better you do, the more you can do is probably about 4 or 5 hits. The best teams are just going to be able to do that. That's just the way it is. You know, Steve's spot on. And like, again, some people think it's a very defeatist attitude. And I understand that premise. I understand that thought. But I think it's just also a fact of the matter where you're going up against one of the greatest collections of talent and teams ever assembled. You're going to need to be able to steal some victories. Kind of like game 1, right? And I do believe that when we look back at it in hindsight, obviously glass always half full and hindsight's always 20/20. But when you're talking about an upset, and we do this a lot more in football where the favorite has to be a little complicit. Well, looking back on it, Armin, Monday was the complicit nature.
Yeah.
Right? You have a guy that is rolling, one of the best starts in Dodger postseason history for Blake Snell, albeit maybe bested one night later. But at that point, it's 8 shutout innings. They go to Sasaki. You got a chance to win it without the Dodgers grabbing a bat again. And if the Brewers go down, it'll be one of the greatest opportunities lost at that moment, because you do have to be able to capitalize and strike while the iron's hot, so to speak.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of teams are necessarily built to be able to do this and withstand this deal. It's why they were so overwhelmingly so the preseason favorite. But you're going to need to be able to continue to hold them down for times. But damn, the offense has got to provide a little bit of jolt of optimism and excitement into that dugout and into that clubhouse, because the pitching is doing their job. Even though 5 runs is a lot last night, I don't believe it's a 5-run output potentially by the Dodgers if you put something together offensively.
And it was closer most of the game. So that 5-1 deficit was a lot of that late stuff with Tobias. I mean, here's my thing too to what Steve is saying. I get your point, and I agree. I mean, this is a great staff. And the fact of the matter is, it was one of the best staffs money could buy. It's a murderer's row of pitchers, especially when they got their stuff going. And Blake Snell had his stuff going, and Yamamoto had his stuff going. Now you're dealing with Glasnow and Show if you want him, and all that stuff. Yeah, so I agree with that. Why do people think the Brewers should magically start? Because the Brewers were one of the best teams this year offensively. I mean, they were one of the best offensive teams in a lot of categories. They scored a bunch of runs. They won a lot of games. So there's a hope that this Brewers team can do it. There's a belief that they're good enough to do it. I think that's what it comes down to. There's also a belief, obviously, in the Dodgers pitching that they could do this to any team, and they would do this to any team. They have. I mean, a lot of teams lose to the Dodgers. But that's where the hope comes from. And I get that, and I believe in that, and I understand it. Because the way the Brewers have played all year for 6 months, we all have hope that they can go and win any game, because we've seen them do it. We've seen them play well. understanding that this is the toughest opponent you've come up against, especially in terms of pitching. But that doesn't automatically mean, because there are great pitchers on the other side, that you are automatically doomed to failure either. You do have some agency in trying to be able to beat them. So that's where the competition aspect comes in. They are all really tough to beat if they're on their mark. But at the Brewers' best, I like to think that we also have a pretty good, team that's also a tough nut to crack. So it's on the Brewers to keep working hard to try and to battle, fight, and get some better results. And I think to make these pitchers work a little bit. And that's what you're going to try. And that's basically what he said at the end. Try and get a hit here, 5 or 6 hits.
Yeah.
And then if you get the ball rolling, you get some momentum, you maybe plant the seed of doubt in their staff a little bit, and maybe get a couple innings and cracks at deeper into their bullpen. I think that's what you got to hope for.
You got to make some of these pitches stressful. I mean, that's the easiest part of the conversation. There's been such few stressful pitches thrown by Dodgers pitching this series. And as good as Blake Snell is, as great as Yamamoto is, Ohtani and Glasnow right there as well, stressful pitches are different than just simple one-on-one situations. And that's a lot of the at-bats that you're put in the last couple of nights. Mike in the Dell said, just watch the highlights from last night's game again. Yelich should wear armor on his knee. Looks like he's stepping out towards first base anytime he faces a left-handed pitcher. We're not advancing if he doesn't wake up in this series.
Yeah, and that's true. But I'll say this, whatever you think you see, they're going to be looking forward to, and he'll be working at it too. Yelich has done too much in his career to overcome adversity, to not take every piece of information he can and do the best he can to try and break out of this slump. And I understand the frustration. I totally get it. I'm feeling it too every time I see him roll over. But Christian Yelich has done a lot of great things with this ball club. He deserves to start in these games and get at-bats every day and try and work himself out of it. And you need him to do it if you hope to win. And he's done a lot of great things for this team, and he's been a great leader and a great hitter and carried this team and overcome adversity too many times for us to just get out there on Twitter and say stuff like he's a bum, he's a crybaby. I'm starting to read some wild stuff about him that I don't appreciate. And I'll be honest with you, Billy, it feels like there's a lot of Brewers fans that love finding an opportunity to finally dump on Yelich again after he's been playing so well. I get it. He's 0 of 15, 16, whatever it is.
Sure.
It's been frustrating, but he's a good player. He's been a great Brewer for a long time, and I'm sure it's for not lack of trying that he's struggling here.
No, and I don't think that's what people are saying, though. Like, I don't think that necessarily it's as much of, because there has been that argument in the past. 100%.
A lot of frustration and coping tweets. I get it. It's frustration in the moment. I get it.
Christopher said, at what point do we decide that LA isn't pitching the game of their life, but our hitters are predictable and guessing at pitches? Snell said something like, said that they had done research on the Brewers hitters, and they obviously found something. There is game planning on the other side too, and they're taking advantage of every game plan that they had put together against the Brewers to have some success. They're finding a lot of it. But to the thought, like you just mentioned, of the results still affecting Christian Yelich, by far, it's still a lot more than necessarily it does to us. I think he's definitely feeling it even more. But I'm with you. It's not by a lack of trying or effort. They're definitely trying to roll over and figure out whatever they can find. And Jonah and River Falls said, Billy, I agree. The lack of production up top is killing us. It will continue to kill us until these guys figure it out. Killed us last year and will this year as well.
It kills every team that
loses. It kills every team when your best offensive players are not producing offensively.
Yes.
Right. So like, it's not an easy, quick fix either. Well, just hit the baseball. Well, just figure it out. Just do what I would have done and it would have worked.
Right.
Like that. There's not a easy remedy or a one size fits all, a simple solution to being able to figure out two guys that are on absolute fire. But it's 1000% right. And every piece of every bit of reaction to there is right. You need your best players to hit. At some point, Christian Yelich is going to have to welcome himself into the series.
Yeah, absolutely, Billy. It's as simple as that. And that's how you have a chance to win. But I don't think, you're not going to sit him right now. That's just not going to be what it is. You're going to try and you hope
you're not in a better position if you sit him.
I don't think so. Because and Bauer's got the start last night, so that was one thing we were hoping for, but it's not like anybody really has been hitting in the series. And that's what's got to turn around, and that's what's obviously got to happen to win. But I just, I know we get frustrated after these games, but some of the stuff, and listen, Billy, I know I'm as guilty of it as anybody else. I focus on the extreme negative sometimes, and I say everybody's saying this, and it's not true.
And it's a lot of time a very, very small vocal minority.
It's hard. It's hard for me to take because everyone reacts to loss differently. I don't necessarily react with anger. I react with kind of like sadness, But like, I see like our guys have had a great year. They're playing great. They won big games all year. They did a lot of great things. Won a big series, and now we're down 0-2 to the best team in baseball, the best collection of talent in baseball. And we're just going to start dump trucking them. I just don't like that, okay? We can criticize. We can have reasons for loss. We can have an argument on what an ace is, if Freddie's an ace. And is Yelich, is he done? I don't know. We can have legitimate discussions, but I don't just like taking gratuitous shots to cope through loss. But it's not my job to tell everybody what to do, to fan, and what to say. It's just my opinion on it.
But it's your job to give opinions on other people's opinions.
Well,
that is kind of your job.
That part is. And nope. The thing is, Billy, I love doing that, so it kind of works out.
That's the thing. Job. It's also kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the reasons why we get into this. No doubt about it. Mike, or Matt in Milwaukee first said, Armin, Yelich has always sucked in the playoffs. He's not a playoff performer, and the Brewers seem like the playoffs are too big of a stage for them, except for Jackson Chourio.
Yeah, and then again, I remember him hitting a Game 7 homer in an LCS. So I get his numbers overall haven't been great in the playoffs. That's fair. I also remember him getting big RBI singles, I think, in Game 163. I don't think he's been totally awful. Has he been as great as he can be in the postseason? No. Not a lot of guys are either because you're also facing better pitching during that time. Yeah, but he hasn't been. He hasn't been his best during the postseason. His overall numbers haven't been great. Yeah, and it's also a small slice of a sample size too, so be it. So,
that's true too.
We hope it gets better. That's all.
Mike in Milwaukee said, here's the thing. No one thought the Brewers were going to be this good this year. Everyone felt that next year was their year. I would have loved to have had this ride with Bob, but they're playing with house money. I'm going to keep riding the ride and watch my Brewers win in 6.
Yeah,
let's go, Mike.
Let's go. No reason to give up now. I mean, we've seen our teams drop the first 2 and do it. Different sports,
we have
different
seen
times.
teams series go where the road team wins, all 5, all 7. Maybe just the road team wins the first 5, and then the home team wins the 6th
I'm
and
good with it.
finishes it. I'd be fine with that one as well. 877-794-1973. Hunter Baumgart was in the stadium last night. We'll discuss that coming up. We also have a text from the 608 saying, hey, mention the new look Bucks. I did actually watch some Bucks, so I got a little bit of that for you coming up tomorrow, later on in hour number 4 as well. He's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt. You're finding us on YouTube, 1070 The Game in Madison. It's no BS.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Carlos Santana to talk about how being fearless leads to a powerful sound.
Especially right now, there's so much fear infected in this planet right now that I don't squirm saying, I am now the person that has got that frequency like John Lennon, Imagine, or the Beatles, All You Need Is Love. I'm not afraid, to say I'm still the hippie that played in Woodstock and we took over. Whether it's Jimi Hendrix or Marvin Gaye or John Lennon or Bob Marley, we are them. I am them, and my sound is that powerful.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Santana and all your favorite artists.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1969.
Low-budget film Easy Rider captures the public imagination with a soundtrack by Steppenwolf, the Byrds, and the Electric Prunes. The Woodstock Music and Art Fair is held August 15th through 18th on Max Yasgur's farm in Bethel. 32 of the biggest bands of the day played to a crowd estimated at 500,000. The event is later released as a movie and album. And with the boost from their appearance at Woodstock, San Francisco band Santana hits the top 10 with their debut album, Evil Ways. The festival undoubtedly immortalized Jimi Hendrix and ushered in the era of large rock concerts and arena rock bands. Also in October, Led Zeppelin have their only U.S. top 10 hit when Whole Lotta Love reaches number 4.
I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, whole lot of love.
the Allman Brothers Band released their debut album on Capricorn Records to good reviews but limited sales. And 7 years after his last number one, Elvis Presley tops the charts with Suspicious Minds.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1969. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1970.
Chicago breaks through with their second album, generating 3 top 10 singles, Color My World, 25 or 624, and Make Me Smile. And Simon & Garfunkel released the album Bridge Over Troubled Water. It would win the Grammy for Album of the Year. The single of the same name would also hit number 1. In February of 1970, Paul McCartney files a petition with the court to dissolve the Beatles partnership. James Taylor leaves Apple Records and releases the album Sweet Baby James on Warner Brothers. He has a number 3 single with Fire and Rain and receives major publicity as a leader in the wave of new, more mellow singer-songwriters of the time.
Let it roll all night long.
The Doors get back to the blues with the album Morrison Hotel, which climbs to number 4 on the album charts. In March, Crosby, Stills, and Nash add Neil Young to their lineup and have a number 1 album with Deja Vu, which includes 3 top 40 singles. And New York hard rockers Mountain released their debut Climbing with the single Mississippi Queen.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1970. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
In February of 77, 60s band leader Manfred Mann has a new band and scores a U.S. number 1 hit with the cover of Bruce Springsteen's song Blinded by the Light. In March, Foreigner released their debut album. It goes to number 4 in the U.S., driven by 2 top 10 singles, Cold as Ice and Feels Like the First Time. Philadelphia Blue-Eyed Soul duo Hall & Oates have their first U.S. number 1 with Rich Girl from their 5th album, Bigger Than the Both of Us. Fleetwood Mac's album Rumors is released. It's their second number 1 album in a row in the U.S., dominating the charts at number 1 for 31 weeks. It spawns 4 top 10 singles, including the number 1, Dreams.
When the rain washes you clean, you know.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Broadcasting live from the Iron Jock Studios. This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee. 97.3 The Game.
Too afraid to ask you who you gonna see when you're home tonight. And we'll have to cut this and tell my friends that you're out of my life. Yeah, I can't focus when you're around me. All your lines are all blurry. So if you can tell me why do I feel so.
All right, this feels a little bit better. This feels a little upbeat. This feels a little excited. We got to find a little excitement, a little optimism, a little hope. His hope is not all lost, even though the first 2 games lost at home by the hometown Milwaukee Brewers. Talking about it with Hunter Baumgart here in just 1 second inside the Iron Jock Studios. October baseball, fall football, perfect time to be wearing the best hoodie on the planet, the Iron Jock hoodie. Now through October 19th, take a cool 30% off your hoodie purchase with the code hoodie30. Plus, Iron Jock will even throw in a free beanie hat. Why? Because they can in their Iron Jock and they love you. Go to ironjock.com. That's ironjoc.com. Code hoodie30.
Yeah, this is upbeat, right? Positive. You hear this song, you say, man, this sounds like a banger.
It's rather danceable.
You ask yourself, why isn't this like the biggest hit in the world yet? Doesn't it seem like it should be?
It feels like it absolutely should be.
I think the people are sleeping on Sawyer, Utah. This is Sawyer, Utah. They're sleeping on him. So Hunter loves Sawyer, Utah.
Now, one person no one's sleeping on is Hunter Baumgarten, his elite coverage of the Milwaukee Brewers. Hunter, you did a phenomenal job last night. It's hard to be somewhat, and not that you're just trafficking in the optimism coordinator where you're just trying to pump up and excite and enhance the viewing experience online, but goodness gracious, it's hard to find positivity when you're sitting there just getting absolutely blitzed by two of the better pitchers in the game the last 2 days at home.
Yeah, that was impressive. I mean, boy, they just came in and 111 pitches for Yamamoto last night and 81 for strikes. I mean, that ratio is just, and people were like, well, why were they so aggressive, especially, early on, and that kept his pitch count low? Well, if he's throwing strikes all the time, you're trying to hit, balls that are in the zone. So there's part of that. I think you maybe could have been a little more patient, but look, it's hard to say anything would have worked against these two guys the last two nights. You go 8 innings, 9 innings in a playoff series. Yeah, that's tough to beat.
Yeah, Hunter, the strikes, absolutely. And not just that, but the way the strikes came, right? A big indication for me is when you take so many called third strikes, it's a big indicator that you're totally mixed up, that they've got you guessing, that they're that the pitches are deceptive looking, right? He's spinning things in the zone that look out of the zone and vice versa. And then he's sneaking fastballs right down the middle because you're not expecting it and you're caught up there guessing. Isn't that part of it too? It's just the way he was painting the corners, painting angles.
Oh, for sure. It was just like every time you'd look up and it was third strike or something, I'd look up at the board and it'd be, that's a strike. That's right on the corner, something like that. And it felt like the same way for Snell. And what we were saying after game one was, well, you can't get another pitching performance like that, right? Two guys aren't going to be on back to back. Well, they were. And the Brewers, the pitching, I guess, wasn't as good in game two, but it was still decent for most of that game. It kept you in the ball game. But then late, it kind of got away from him, obviously. But yeah, so I think as you guys have talked about, the path does not get any easier here. You obviously are going now on the road, but can you somehow scrap your way to a victory or two in LA just to get it back here for game 6 and see what happens?
Yeah, because if you can get it back here, then all bets are off. And you can find yourself in the same position they found themselves in 18 when they were able to return to Milwaukee down 3-2 and then had a lead in game number 7. I like this one from Jonah in River Falls, Hunter. He said, ask Hunter this next segment.
Oh, boy.
Did Murph's taser run out of battery? I'll ship him some batteries to LA if we need to. Let's get these fellas going. Go Crew. Regardless of what happens, they've had a great year, and I'm proud of the franchise record-breaking team. It feels like there's some people that are allowing that last part to kind of get into the conversation already, saying, hey, but it's been an awesome year and I'm excited and I'm happy about it. Maybe that's more of the Monstars feeling on the other side with just how good and daunting LA and the problem that LA presents. But Hunter, it is a feeling that, goodness gracious, where has the same mentality offensively gone? I mean, Tim Allen was on here 2 hours ago and laid it out for us as to what they've done over the last 4 games. And they've lost now 4 of their last 5 games. That's usually good enough to get you bounced out of the playoffs. They are still alive, but the whole Woodpecker mantra and their mentality seemingly has shifted in the batter's box.
Yeah, and it's tough because I think part of that is just the way the Dodgers have been pitching the last 2 games. Like, it's just hard to do that when you're facing the pitching and the guys are so on. Like I think there's 2 parts to that. Yes, as the Brewers offense maybe not been as definitely hasn't been as productive, but has the strategy not been as maybe sound the last 2 games? You could argue that, but again, you could argue that the pitchers have just been on. I think losing 4 out of the last 5, it is unfortunate that the offense is obviously it starts with, you guys were talking about a Christian Yelich and guys getting in the slumps at this time. And Yelich said at his locker last night, like, it's obviously a bad time to have a rough patch, in the season. So I think it's a balance of the pitching that they've faced mixed with you're just not seeing that woodpecker mentality up there, and they get a hit, and then it's like last night, right, or 2 nights ago, Turbin gets a hit and then he gets picked off, or it's just not working. However, Churio hit a ball hard right at a guy, Contreras hit a ball. Like last night there were a little more of that where you're hitting the ball hard just right at guys, and you're going to need some bounces to go your way at times. But it does look like, I think when it comes to like the whole season, and I think that win Saturday night was just huge in so many respects. I think that was getting over one of the humps, so to speak, right? Because there's the other of getting to the World Series, obviously. And so, but I don't think it's a factor of like, okay, we beat the Cubs and now we're fine, whatever the rest of the way. I think this team absolutely wants to continue this run. But I think there's a lot of satisfaction that you can take from what the Brewers have done so far. But the other side to that is you're 4 wins away from the World Series, and it's crushing to lose no matter what has happened throughout the season, no matter what has happened in the NLDS, no matter who you beat. It's still crushing to lose at this round.
Absolutely. It's the dream of what you play for. And there were those dreams in our head all year. And those aren't dead. They're still at going after it. There's still a chance that they could do it. But I think game 3 becomes a must win. And do you expect them to kind of operate it that way, Pat Murphy to manage it that way, Hunter, especially with the pitching staff?
Yeah, I think so. I'm interested to see what they do. I would think Quintana factors in some way, shape, or form. And whether he starts or not, I don't know. They've been, it seems, a little apprehensive to start him, to use him, quite frankly, right? I mean, he's only pitched, 3 innings here in the postseason, and other guys have now pitched. Priester's pitched twice. Freddie's obviously pitched a few times. There's been, your other guys who you relied on throughout the year have pitched multiple times, and he's kind of kept back. One of 2 reasons, right? It could be the calf is still bothering him. I don't think so. I think it's just they're seeing the stuff, and maybe the results look good in Chicago, but I don't know if necessarily he was as effective. And they probably saw some things in that outing that were like, yeah, he's still, I don't know if they love putting him on the mound at this point. I think they will out of necessity, and I think it could go well. And I like him on the road, a guy who's been there, done that. But I also think there's part of it that seems to be that they're a little apprehensive with him until they absolutely need him, and they will need him in game 3.
What did you make of Brandon Woodruff's comments yesterday to Lauren Shahadi on the broadcast of TBS? We were talking about it with Tim Allen, and he's like, I've heard Woody a number of different times. I don't know that I'm buying it as much as maybe some were hoping, the way he had said and framed it like, hey, I'm working myself to get back. If there's a possibility that I can, we move on, that I can be a part of the World Series. It's been very, very quiet. Is there anything to report, anything that you would be able to glean from being around the team as much as you have been over the last couple of weeks there?
Yeah, I wouldn't, I guess, rule it out. But the last report I heard is that he wasn't throwing yet. And that was
not great.
Late Cubs series, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So like, I don't know. It's going to be tough. I mean, I'm sure he's working every day and trying to get to that point. And a possible World Series game would be a week from now. So I don't know. It seems like a quick timeline. Who knows? Maybe there's things going on behind the scenes that are getting him ready that he would be. And if it's the World Series, 65% Woodruff maybe wants to go out there, that kind of thing. Oh, yeah. But hey, look, he's been an optimist throughout this entire process. It's hard to be, because you think about what the Dodgers have in that rotation, and you think about what the Brewers could have in that rotation as well with him in there. It just changes things, right? They've had to go openers. They've had to go, guys doing a little bit of different roles, but you could have had Freddie and Woody out of the chute, in the NLDS. And then, in this series, maybe you have someone in game 1, but then you have Peralta in game 2, and maybe you have Woodruff starting in game 3, and you feel good about that. Now, of course, if the offense doesn't get going, probably, it doesn't matter as much, but it's different mentality when you have those guys going for you on the mound. So there is a little bit of what could have been, but I might be a little surprised if he would be ready if they do advance.
Looking at that situation, Hunter, in terms of starters, thinking back the rotation, what could have been, is there a thought that Quintana is not really maybe totally healthy, or that Brewers just using him the way they want here?
Yeah, it's possible that calf is still bothering him. Yeah. I know before the end of the regular season, Pat Murphy said they were out of the weeds on it, so they felt like they were in a good spot, and he was fine against the Cubs. But again, I think the results maybe were good on paper, but overall, he didn't pitch maybe as well as the Brewers would have liked. So I think they're maybe delaying it a little bit more. kind of like I don't know. They also, I think they were pretty. It seemed like they were uncomfortable with Priester, pitching in that Cubs series. They had to because he was one of their guys. But obviously, that's a matchup that isn't great for him. They saved him for Game 3. It obviously didn't go well. He bounces back against the Dodgers with 4 in Game 1, so that's good. But yeah, but again, I would think Quintana pitches in Game 3 tomorrow. Whether that's a start, whether that's they do another opener, I don't know. At some point, you're going to need length here. Like Mizorowski, I would think is starting to be available now on Thursday.
I would think that was the other guy. And you kind of want to make sure he's been one of your best guys in this postseason. Obviously, he struggled kind of going in, but this postseason he's been great. Don't you want to kind of go down in a high leverage spot with one of your best guys, or at least giving one of your most talented guys a great shot here with Miz? That's kind of what I'm thinking as well.
Well, that and maybe he's your Game 4 starter, right?
Yeah.
If depending on how Game 3 goes. I would think that it's a possibility that he's your Game 4 starter. And you're going to have, Murph said last night, you're going to have everybody but Freddie available on Thursday. So maybe you can get through without Mizorowski and then have him just be lined up and ready to go in Game 4. So we'll see. Tobias Myers pitched a little bit last night. Obviously, Gasser did as well. Chad Patrick needed a couple of days off after he, pitched on Saturday, then pitched on Monday. Maybe he's a candidate to go behind Quintana tomorrow, but they're going to have to kind of piecemeal this together consistently as they have throughout the postseason. It's worked, more often than not, but they have a really good pitching staff top to bottom there. But you can also see why they picked Tobias Myers over Nick Mears on this NLCS roster now, because of how much length they just need in a 7-game series.
Yeah. Battling some technical issues on the iHeartRadio app, back on 1070 The Game. Glad that we are hanging out and being able to be on with everybody. And you're hearing Hunter Baumgart chopping it up after being in the house for the 2 games at American Family Field. I know it sounds it's not nearly as fun talking about the energy in the crowd when you get beat back-to-back nights, but it did seem yesterday, and granted the leadoff home run will do that on the first pitch, but it felt like even from Freddie's first pitch, the energy was maybe even turned up a notch or 2 last night, that it was a crowd that was definitely trying to do whatever they could in motivating this team to be able to get themselves a dub.
Yeah, and it's tough when when the offense isn't producing, right? When you're like, oh, come on, strikeout, a line drive caught right by the third baseman, or Churio out to left and it's caught, that kind of thing. That can be deflating. So I don't blame them for but they are trying to muster up any energy they could to get behind the team and trying to make it a home field advantage. Going into LA now, it's interesting because they have a 3:08 Pacific start. So I don't think that's necessarily going to be a full crowd when you start the game on Thursday tomorrow. So can you take advantage of those early innings when maybe the crowd isn't as loud as it may be in the 4th, 5th, 6th inning? Can you jump on glass now early? It's easier said than done, but who knows? Maybe that's something that, a strategy for the Brewers to kind of be aggressive early, get pressure on the Dodgers early. You want to do that in any game, but right. I don't know. Maybe it's something where you have a little bit of an advantage with the crowd, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody shows up at 3:08 tomorrow in LA, but just on past experience that they might have a little bit of an advantage there. So maybe they use that to try to somehow, some way get back into this series.
And I think there's something to that. I think there's this idea, obviously you're going on the road, but I don't know that it's as intimidating as of a raucous type atmosphere as you would have seen in Wrigley.
Right.
Obviously with the vitriol, the passion, when Cubs fans have their fangs out and all that stuff. I think Dodger fans, like you said, it's going to be a late arriving crowd, maybe a more casual crowd that will expect to see maybe an opera crowd that's going to expect to see a performance after the first 2 games, just going to expect to come in and witness the, the masterpiece of the Dodgers, closing out the Brewers and waltzing to the World Series. So maybe in that sense, you get them back on their, laying back a little bit, relaxed a little bit, and maybe that will infect the Dodgers dugout a little bit as well. It's wishful thinking, but I think the key is maybe making them doubt themselves early, right? Putting some early runs on the board, or at least, letting them know that, hey, you will have a pitcher not go 8 or 9 innings today. I think that would help, Hunter, because I still believe we can get to their bullpen. We just got to get to their bullpen.
Right. You just got to have a guy from the bullpen run into the ball game. That's, and that is a weakness like that. We saw it in Game 1. We saw it in the 9th inning. They had to go through 2 pitchers there. So they absolutely just get to that bullpen. It's easier said than done, but I think that is obviously the strategy. Try to get the pitch count up. I would think they'll try to work counts a little more. In game 3, maybe try to just get that pitch count up, do exactly what they did all year, obviously, to get to the point that they are at now, and where you're working counts and everything like that. And Dave Roberts said after the game last night that, this team isn't, the Brewers aren't going to quit. We still have our work cut out, so to speak. And Pat Murphy said he doesn't think this is over, which, I don't think it's over either. I think it's this team has responded all season long, and now it's probably the toughest test that they've faced to have to respond to, having to go to LA down 2-0 is obviously, is one thing to come back after losing 2 to the Cubs, but you were coming back home. You still have the series tied. This is a totally different story when you're going on the road down 2, but it starts with one game at a time, and maybe tomorrow night they grab one, and then it's kind of a different, you down 2-1 gives you a little more confidence. Then all you need is one of the next 2 to get that thing back here to American Family Field next week.
Any thought on putting Christian Yelich in the outfield to try to wake him up offensively, Hunter?
I thought about that. Like, I don't know if it would. I don't know if it would help offensively. People are asking to bench him.
There's no chance you're doing that. It's not working.
No.
I don't. That's not helping you. Nope. But to try to spice up the game a little bit, change it up. I mean, you throw Jake Bauers with a glove in his hand. Like, I can't imagine Christian Yelich with one on is that much worse or much better. But just to try to shake up the rhythm a little bit and get him more into the game.
Yeah, especially with how Churio's been feeling with the hamstring. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know. I don't know any information as far as his back or if it's hurting or anything. But like, with Churio been injured the entire playoffs, and Yelich has not been in left field, and he's now like 0 for his last 17 or something. When he has struggled this year, it's been pretty much a direct result of the back, and when it's acted up a little bit. And it hasn't acted up a lot this year. That's why he had such a good year.
Yeah.
But putting 2 and 2 together here, I don't know. It surprised me if there's like he's like 100%. No, nobody's 100% at this time of the year, but it would be, it wouldn't surprise me if it's nagging him a little bit just because of the results at the plate and the fact that they haven't put him in left field, just putting 2 and 2 together. Now, again, I don't know that for a fact at all. And maybe I'm totally wrong and he's just going through a slump, which could be the case. But just those 2 factors and knowing Churio's been hurt the entire postseason, maybe they do switch it up. Obviously, like you said, they switched Bauers in there for the first time in the postseason last night.
Yeah.
So maybe they are just trying to do anything and everything, and maybe that would get him in the game a little
Yeah,
more.
and usually he's got a great eye at the plate, and that's kind of what surprised me as well.
Sure.
The struggles he's had there. That's usually his strength. But look, nobody looks good right now. When you have 2 great pitchers, elite pitchers, high-priced pitchers, both pitching elite, it's hard for anyone to look good in that situation.
Yeah,
so
that's
hopefully Glass now does not have his best stuff. That'd be nice.
That would be nice. Maybe bring a C game to the crowd, to Dodger Stadium coming up tomorrow afternoon. Well, this guy always brings his A game. He's Hunter Baumgart. He's with us today, and we cannot thank you enough, Hunter. We appreciate it. We are going to be feasting on football coming up in Madison tomorrow night, East Town Mall. It's going to be a raucous crowd. We're fired up for the football feast. You guys will be there starting at 3. I'll join at 5. I think Matt LePay is scheduled to appear. Potentially going to be a fun time coming up tomorrow night.
You guys going to be hanging out at the mall, or is this like I don't know Madison as well.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
And I want to know Madison.
At the East Town Mall.
At the East Town Mall.
Yep.
Yes.
So we're at the mall.
Like Sam Goody.
We might walk around and go see PacSun if that's what you're asking.
PacSun, Sam Goody. I mean, Lids.
Sadly, they don't have a Stephen Barry's there.
I was gonna say I used to love Stephen Barry's.
The absolute best. Hunter's too young for Stephen Barry's.
He doesn't remember it, but I bought so many $8 random sweatshirts. Like Clemson or whatever.
I was going to say Hunter would have a couple of South Carolina Gamecock sweatshirts on.
If you had a pair of Starberries for $8, raise your hand. All right, raise your hand. Why not?
Who didn't?
Yeah, those are the
Hunter,
best shoes.
Us old guys will continue this conversation on the other side. We appreciate your conversation. Yeah. We appreciate all your hustle last night and then waking up early with us. And we'll listen to you later on today.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
That is Hunter Baumgart joining us here on the game. He's got no clue what we're talking about.
He didn't go to the Things Remembered to get something engraved for Mother's Day for Mom.
That's fair.
Mother's Day, I'm going to Things Remembered.
I always wondered how many times I could utilize that one.
Sure.
And then you kind of felt bad, like, okay, I think I've now gifted something from Things Remembered 18 different times.
And let's be honest.
Have I worn out the welcome of the gift?
Mom's never going to say she doesn't love a gift her son or her child gets her. Never. However, I think she's got enough paperweights.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
think there's enough paper on the desk to need that many paperweights. That's engraved like Happy
Got like
Mother's
7
Day.
different little paperweight rocks right in there in front.
Absolutely. The nice thing is, though, engrave it while you wait. Oh, engrave it while you wait. Sweet. I'm going to Pottery Barn. Check out some old-looking phones.
There we go. Dave right out of the
Come on
gates
now.
on the YouTube page. I still have Stephen Barry's hoodies.
What's up?
That warms my heart.
That was the best. Those things were decent quality. They were random as hell. But they were
Random as
great.
hell.
Yeah.
Then I did also like that there would be the one section that it wasn't college and it was just like beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You always had that stuff like, beer or sport. Yeah, whatever it would
Double
say.
security.
Yeah,
You
security.
gotta have some of those in there as well.
Security.
877-794-1973. All right. We are licking our wounds after the Brewers dropped 2 at American Family Field, and we dropped 2 to the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the parlay of the day. Send it in on the other side. It's no BS on the game.
Won't even get pulled over in they new V. The good life. Let's go on a living spree. They say the best things in life are free. The good life. It feel like Atlanta. It feel like LA. It feel like Miami. It feel like
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you statewide. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on the YouTube and X stream. Getting a lot of great conversation on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line as well. And that's where Timothy said, you really have to make the difference when you're able to try to score a little bit in the first inning. Is that what he's trying to say? Or no?
You needed men out of the first to make the home run count.
Well, that's fair.
It was a leadoff homer, but yeah, I mean, that's true. We have gotten some homers in this playoffs. They've been a lot of solo jobbers, solo bombs. So you're never going to say no. Pause. You're never going to say no to a solo home run.
A lot of solo jobbers in college there, Armin.
You're never going to say no to a jobber, but you're never going to say no to it. But you do want to have the jackpot innings, and the runs are a premium there. So you got to have guys. You got to have ducks in the pond. There's no doubt about that. There's no. I don't want that.
I should have been better. I should have not laughed at that one. I'm sorry.
I don't know what Holmes' comment about starter jackets is, but I did wear mine yesterday.
I think you were saying that they maybe had some of those rocking at Stephen Barry's. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Were those prominent there as well?
Well, they weren't starter jackets. Now they might have been looking in the style of starter jackets.
A faux starter jacket. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I was walking in there with my $4 Gucci watch and getting my starter jacket, which was not a starter jacket. That was the farter jacket. That was the fake starter. So we used to call the starter. You ever hear that? The starter, fake starter.
Just now.
I had the farter. Yeah, I had the farter jacket. No doubt about it. No, good one there. Yeah, I mean. The Brewers have not been able to get the big 3-run homer, the big grand slam. And part of that is, Billy, you need constant pressure on the base paths.
Need to get some ducks on the pond. They just haven't had enough traffic. They haven't had enough action, and that needs to get better. Ashley in Newport Beach said, you can't have Yelich, Turang, Ortiz all hitting 200 or below in the lineup. That's 3, and 2 of them are supposed to be your flagship pillar guys. That's out of Murph ball. They're swinging for home runs instead of just trying to get hits. In the playoffs, you can't have multiple guys not hitting anything like Ortiz, but having Turang and Yelich both swing at non-competitive pitching, you're going to lose this series. They have looked awful at the plate, kind of like crap. But if ambushing didn't work, back off them and make them throw some pitches. Follow them off like you did all year long. Anyway, prediction is totally blown opportunity. Yelich hasn't been great in the postseason, even in 2018. Wouldn't it be amazing to be watching them get swept in Wow, never mind. It wouldn't be amazing to watch them get swept here in LA, the game that she's going to. They look completely dumbfounded at the plate. She said the offense looks scared. Ashley, you're going to go to the game and you're going to see a win in this series.
Yeah, we need you to be there. We need you to give us some good luck and blown opportunities.
Change a little bit of the fortune.
Need that. And she's definitely right about your guys hitting. Now, all the rest of the way she said to get it done, it sounds great. I mean, in theory, all that is easier said than done. Take balls, not strikes, foul off strikes. Those are all great strategies. Those are ways to do it. Actually putting the plan into action, I think, is the tough part in that situation when you're going up against guys, really elite pitchers that have their best stuff going. Billy, I also think there's a little bit of aspect of, do you need a little more energy, in the crowd? People have asked that question too. It's hard. It's hard when you to give energy to the home crowd when you're just getting beat up on every play there. Call 3 strikes, frustrating to watch, says Yancey here on the YouTube chat. Especially a couple that are right down the middle. Yeah. And they were. And that's how you got it mixed up. I see Durbin take one down the middle. I said, I know you want to swing because you just swung in the dirt. So making balls look like strikes and strikes look like balls, the best pitchers do it. And you can tell they got them crossed up because if you're not looking for a fastball right down the middle, you're definitely guessing and you're definitely confused.
I also like this one from Tristan in Wausau. We're a fastball hitting team. We don't hit off speed well. The Dodgers starters are nasty. Look at their last 30 starts, a 1.78 ERA and a whip just over 1 flat. Sorry, it's the perfect storm. That's the bottom line. And again, there's a little bit to that. But in the midst of the fight, you got to try to find some ways to be able to manufacture a little bit. I think you're trying to push back a little bit on the blown opportunity. I think the blown opportunity we're going to look back on is game one. Now, will it necessarily have mattered? Who knows? But if you steal game one, the complexion of the series looks different.
Oh, sure. You're split.
And again, I don't know that Yamamoto doesn't still come out and throw a 3-hitter last night. Like that very much still could have been the case. He was trying to come back and rebound after being embarrassed on that mound earlier in July. And he's a great player. When that guy's playing that way, it's going to be hard for anybody to be able to slow that roll.
Well, absolutely. And I
I
think
care if it's the 27 Yankees going up against him last night. Like the way he's throwing the ball, it's difficult for me to forecast anybody having a whole lot of success. And when great players are performing that way, you got to be able to just go off and run your own race. And like Christian Yelich said, and we heard him earlier on here this week, Armin, or earlier on today, you just got to be able to play game 3 like it's the only game that matters.
You got
games 1 and 2 are still going to count, but you have to be able to play game 3 like it's the only one that matters. Win tonight had been their mantra the entire season. And you need to see even more of that coming from the offense, because the pitching staff's doing their job.
Absolutely.
And they're playing that way night in and night out. You see how many relievers they're using every single time.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about it. And the other thing is, when I think of blown opportunities, I think of leads lost, blown saves, things like that. All right, I can't let this one pass. Holmes has me messed up on the YouTube chat. You got me messed up. You don't know me by now, Holmes? I'm calling a fact check. Both of you guys are too young to know about starter jackets. How old were you guys in the early 90s? Billy, is this serious right now? Is he trolling me? Is he just trying to get a rise out of me? And
Maybe he's learning.
I thank God if that's true. You just don't know us yet, and you're a brand new listener, Holmes. I don't think you are. You don't know about me by now? I'm an old man. I'm 41. I was born in 84. I grew up in the 90s, bro. My whole life is consumed by 90s culture. I'm too young to know about starter jackets. I just bought one last month, because I was obsessed with it, trying to relive my youth. I'm too young to know about starter jackets. When I got that Packers reversible Apex, actually it was Pro Player, because I couldn't get the starter jacket because my mom was scared because kids were getting jacked for them. See, that's the other thing. Kids were getting mugged for their starter jackets back then. My mom didn't want me to have one. So I convinced her to get me a Pro Player Packers jacket.
It's a little bit of a knockoff version,
Yeah,
a Shopko version.
Either I got it from Kohl's or Fanfare, whatever it was still a great jacket. That was one of the greatest moments of my youth. So you got me messed up if you don't think I know about the 90s and starter jackets. You got me all the way messed up. Now, Billy's a little younger than me, but Billy knows about it because he has to sit across from me from hours every day.
And when he says he was obsessed with this jacket that you just recently purchased.
I should have worn it today. I'll wear it. I will wear this jacket Friday. I'm off tomorrow, scheduled day off. I will wear this jacket Friday. It will not. Oh my goodness! You know how much I want.
Yeah,
this
you
jacket.
are fired up at this moment.
Oh, I just
that's something that is taking an absolute shot at Armin's character.
Come
asking what he knows and what he trained
Holmes.
about the 90s.
Holmes trolling me. Yeah, everybody loves. I know you guys know I love that stuff. Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, I had bought the greatest Brewer starter jacket in a collaboration with Homage, the Homage brand. Spelled like homage, but the H is silent. And Starter had the collaboration. Billy, you know I loved it. My early 90s Brewers Tom Troublehorn jacket. Oh, my favorite one.
Marty in Madison giving us a big time lowdown. Guys, there was a Stephen Barry's in the Easttown Mall in its formative years, but it has since closed. I like that they had a Stephen Barry's.
Yeah, they'd had.
Yeah, they all definitely closed.
Closed.
Apparently, selling $8 and $10 hoodies was not a solid business model.
I don't know how the margins weren't great on that. The margin must have been 13 cents on every one of those jackets they sold. They must have had to keep getting that product through the boxes unleashed and everything.
Can't imagine it would have gone well if they would have went on Shark Tank with that business plan.
Can't imagine it, but they must have succeeded for a while. I don't know who Steve.
They opened up enough stores.
Yeah, gosh, the rent they must have paid for those in every mall in America. But those were some great times. I mean, I really thought about.
They really were some good times.
It was still open, Billy, when I first got the Sebring. You know, at the Chrysler Sebring converter. You know about this, right? But I had the Sebring, trying to act like I was the Armenian Fonz driving around the cops on the south side. Not happening. But anyway, well, first of all, you have to have 4 working hubcaps to look cool. Anyway, so I'm driving around.
Yeah, otherwise you just look sad.
Yeah. Oh, very sad. So I'm driving around the white Sebring convertible. I first got it. You know, this was like 2005. And I think the Stephen Barry's was still open, and they were selling Jack. You know, you're talking about the ones you could get with that said like security or beer. They also had some that said like Dodge or your favorite car brand.
100% Ford. Yeah, no doubt.
They had a Chrysler jacket. So I'm like, should I get the Chrysler? It was like like the snap
Like the
jacket.
fake leather jacket, snap one in. Oh my God, you look so cool. in
I
that
didn't
bad
get
boy.
it, but I really
What?
for $8, I should have drove around my Sebring with a Chrysler jacket.
With the top down
With
in the
top
winter.
down, with the top down in the winter, absolutely in the winter, and just tried to be somebody, you know. Or
I could
think
have seen
was
you
somebody.
driving around, full beard, 20 years old, with those driving leather gloves that you also then rock too.
Those leather gloves, man.
In the cold with those on, that would have been even better.
Someone asked me once, and since nobody asked, I'll answer the question again. Somebody asked once, "What's the coldest you ever had the top down?" Because people always have convertible questions when you did own one.
That's fair.
It was the night the Packers won the Super Bowl. The night we beat the Steelers. Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. Obviously, I was so excited. We were watching my buddy's house. We're going to Water Street. We all obviously went out. It was kind of flurrying. It was cold. I put the top down on that bad boy, and we were honking the horn on Water Street. That was one of the great moments ever.
Ryan and Muskego, Armin, same here. My mom wouldn't buy me a starter jacket because kids were getting them stolen. I had a knockoff Reebok jacket with a full zipper. Still have the jacket to this day, and it's now my snow blowing jacket.
There you go.
My
It's
dad
still
also
there.
had one of the pro player ones that became the snow blower jacket. Phenomenal snow throwers.
Great snow blowing
thrower
jackets.
jacket, I should
yeah,
say.
great to have in the closet still.
blower.
Those are you never throw away your Packer jacket. You don't know when you're going to need it, and there were so many of them. And those things were built well. Those things were made well, man. I mean, mine lasted a long, long time. So I love that.
I do love that you can still find like the starter jacket, the Packer Jackets Twitter account.
Yes,
Great.
great
You see them
account.
rolling around in the wild, people hanging out in them. Jason the electrician said, Armin, the true test of someone's age for them now is if they know about the triple fat goose jackets with the whistle into the pocket.
You know what? I don't know. Is that the Canada Goose jacket?
Potentially.
The Canada Goose. I don't know about all that stuff. I really don't. I really don't know.
I can't be in that spot. I can't be in that tax bracket.
They sell that at Macy's.
John of the 414. Stephen Barry's in Southbridge. Love that place. Oh,
yeah,
man, it's good.
Are you kidding me? Listen to some bare naked ladies on that thing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Zach's got the baseball conversation back to us. Monasterio at short, Bowers in left, Frelick in center, Churio at right. Got to do whatever we got to do to score some runs. And they definitely shook up the lineup a little bit last night, right? Bowers was the inclusion into left field. People wondered if that would be the case. I am hesitant to say or to go against what Hunter said on the Yelich in left field thing. If all year long we notice a trend that if he is a little dinged, the back is acting up a little bit, that's why they wouldn't put him out there. That makes some more sense. Because if the trend of when he has gone bad at the plate has been maybe he's a little bit dinged up, the last thing you want to do is compound that situation in the outfield. But if it's not the case, I think you're doing yourself a disservice to not try anything and everything you can to get him going.
Yeah,
because
I'm
this
with
team
you.
has no chance to get back here to Milwaukee if he does not make himself his presence known and his presence felt at Dodger Stadium, where he grew up going to games. These games should be very, very impactful and very important to him.
And the idea of Monasterio at shortstop, I get why it's tempting. Mona in his role has been great this year. He's hit his best hitting year of his career. And obviously we're in dire need of offense. The one thing I'd say, though, about the Joey Ortiz conversation is nobody's hitting. At least Joey Ortiz has saved runs defensively.
That's fair.
At least he's done that. He's played a good defense at shortstop. Now, do you go to a pinch hitter earlier maybe for him in the situation? Maybe that's the clip emptying you do if you're Pat Murphy in game 3.
Well, or if you do it reverse, right? The Pat Murphy are reserves first. Maybe it's the Mona start, and then you're coming in with Joey Ortiz defensive replacement, and him with more leverage at bats. Maybe that's not exactly the case, but it's tough to be able to do because you're right. He's at least saved a couple of runs with the relay throw from Sal Frelick.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a big old park. So that's why I'm expecting maybe to see Blake Perkins again for that reason.
I would agree with you there. And especially a couple of gappers that feel like they could have been run down, and Perkins is going to give you the best opportunity to do that. 877-794-1973. John Rylander, I got the pullover starter jacket, late 80s, early 90s, Milwaukee Bucks steel.
That's a
Thing
great
is
one.
badass. That is probably a phenomenal coat.
That's a great one. And I think there's a store, it might be the pro shop at Fiserv or Moda 3 sells the retro Buck starter pullover jacket still. You can get that. I know, you know me, I'm a Marquette guy.
I think I get the
Marquette,
swooping deer one going.
Marquette dropped one out, and the Badgers have some. But there's an original Marquette Warriors starter pullover out there. It's not, you can't find it very easily.
You're hunting it down for once it goes on sale?
I'm hunting it down. That's my white whale. That and the script Marquette Warriors hat. You know, if I can find that, they're going for like $300 on the internet. But I'm not about to pay for that much.
Sadly, our white whale feels like a parlay of the day this week. We're going to do that on the other side of a quick timeout. Hit one, win one for you on No BS, and then we're going to get out of here. That's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt. It's No BS on the game. Mr. Jackson is truly for real. Jackson Churio's leadoff home run yesterday, the best thing for the Brewers to have all day long, because instead it was the first time since 2010 that a runner did not reach scoring position for the Milwaukee Brewers against Yamamoto yesterday. At least that stat just popped up on First Take, and I'm not positive that it's a fact, but I'm pretty sure it
you gotta trust them.
You got to trust them. They ended up being thrown out at second. Nearly got some traffic on the base paths in the second inning as well, Armin. And that's one where you want to talk about a game of inches. Freddie Freeman nearly throws a Sal Frelick ground ball over to first base into the outfield. And the Brewers are about that first and second with nobody out in a 2-1 game right after the Dodgers doubled up the score, changed it from a 1-0 Brewers lead to a 2-1 Dodger advantage. And if you get something going there, again, I'm not saying that Durbin or Bowers were going to flip the scoreboard with a 3-run shot, but with 2 on, nobody out, and you don't have a shutdown inning from Yamamoto on the other side right away.
Yeah.
Who knows? And instead, the very next pitch, I think Frelick grounds one over to first base, a tick over. Instead of being a foul ball, it's a fair ball. Freeman attacks it, throws over to second. They get the out at second. The return throw ends up going to the screen, and that's why Frelick is able to reach on the fielder's choice. But, I mean, you just think about it a couple of different ways. 1 inch, 1 foot in that game could have been different in just that inning.
And that's sometimes, Billy, listen, the first 2 losses for the Brewers, none of it has to do with luck. It's just that if you get certain breaks at certain times, those could be the things to help you in those moments, right? Those could have been the things that could have turned the tide of a game in a games that have very small margins, right? Now, the Brewers worked their butt off to try and give themselves a chance in game 1 in the bottom of the 9th. And they did, right? They got to a spot where their base is loaded. Terang reacts out of the way. That ball is too far inside for him to get all the way out of the way. It could be a couple inches inside more. We're talking about a tie game. Who knows? You talked about last night's play. Absolutely. Talk about a couple of the home runs that the Dodgers have hit. Towering shots. Now, those are all skill. There's no doubt about it. But, you're talking about a percentage angle here off the ball, off the bat. Could have made them fly balls. Small margins do dictate these games. Now, obviously, the Dodgers earn what they've got with the 2 guys that have shoved. But there's one thing to say, and we talk about Jackson Chourio and stuff like that. No matter what happens the rest of the series, Billy, that's probably the biggest positive we can take away right now.
Absolutely.
Is that Jackson Chourio's young career, he's shown now in his 10th playoff game to be a fantastic playoff performer. We're talking about a kid that's 21 or whatever, the batting average of 361 career, on base 385, slugging of 750, and an OPS, Billy, of 1135. Incredible postseason numbers in the young, early, and very promising career of Jackson Chourio. Not even 100% healthy. So I think that's probably the biggest positive we're taking away from this right now, is that Jackson Chourio has, as much as we know he's been a great player, he's a revelation in the postseason. Now in 10 playoff games, he's had just incredible numbers.
All right, 877-794-1973, the NicolaLaw.com talk and text line will continue to stay open once the boys get in here for DND. But we got to hit the Potawatomi Sportsbook quickly with a parlay of the day on No BS with Billy and Sari and here on the game. You just want me to hit it right away?
I got it. Here we go.
Time now for Billy's Parlay of the Day, brought to you by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest.
All right, we need the Blue Jays to win because we need to have some hope that the team that just lost their first 2 home games down 2-0 can win on the road. Let's get the Blue Jays money line up in this thing.
All right.
And if they're going to do that, George Springer is going to have to be a part of it because he's been their #1 postseason performer. Give us 1.5 total bases on George Springer. Another postseason performer on the other side, though. Randy Arozarena has a flair for the dramatic. Give us 1 Randy Arozarena hit.
Now.
That's plus 575 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Randy Arozarena over a half a hit. Just needs 1 base hit. George Springer over 1.5 total bases. Blue Jays money line. Give us some hope that the #1 seed down 2-0 can go on the road across the country and get a win and set themselves up for some success and an opportunity to move on. He's got to be able to get the first one out there.
Right. Get the first
got to get the first one out west to get the second.
That's right.
And then to win the third and have a chance to make it Brewers in 6. Since 6, we've been trying to pick up the pieces off of a Game 2 loss for the Milwaukee Brewers. We appreciate everybody being with us on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line, on the YouTube stream as well, and on Facebook, Twitter. We appreciate Tim Allen for waking up with us, Hunter Baumgart as well.
Thank you.
Armin, I think we're settling into this morning thing. I think we're settling into this YouTube show because we're pretty solid at this deal. You come off of the board tomorrow. You are off tomorrow, and we'll reconvene on Friday.
See you Friday, Billy.
And I'll talk to Tim Allen coming up tomorrow morning. Andrew Ludwig will rejoin us, and we'll carry the G coming up tomorrow as well at 9 o'clock when Aaron Nagler joins the conversation. It's been No BS right here on The Game.
Baby, something in your eyes when it drove me crazy. Now I can't